You does me. Man, come on, bro. Because we human beings, we can figure out. We see, you know, it ain't that bad what I'm gonna do. Yeah, all right. Oh, you guys too nice, so he won't burn you forever. Really? Okay. He didn't make the lake of fire for humans, he made it for angels. What you just said is the first two people that's going to be put in there. But God is so nice, he won't burn you forever. What is that? It says eternal damnation. We'll see. Here's the example. He said, watch this. He said sign of the world will burn forever, but it's not burning forever. So that's metaphor. That's the name of it. Yeah, you can burn it for real. Right. Literally. Right. But see, they want to see. So see, it's not. He was not burning forever. That was metaphorical. He's not gonna burn. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all all the truth. If the lake of fire was not eternal, I might try to figure out a way to calculate how long I was burning, right? So I could go do some crazy stuff. But nope, it is eternal. I'm cool, man. Don't fall for that doctrine either. Please don't fall for that doctrine. The Lord loves you too much to burn you forever. You're right. He'll burn you forever. Check. I'm not trying to figure out a way. I'm not trying to get into the truth to figure out angles around the truth. If that's the case, then why am I dealing with it? All right. Okay. Y'all ready, Riley? Let's stand and face towards Jerusalem and open on up.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth
thy will be done in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory forever.
and the glory forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Who's got first question? Do it. All right.
Besides serving,
No, we don't have no, okay. All right. I'll repeat it for those watching online. All right, what's up?
so besides servile work,
Yes, sir.
what constitutes as work from the Sabbath? Since it says, do the old man or work, what does that include?
So when it talks about, let's go to Deuteronomy. Well, let's go to Leviticus 23 first. So the question is, besides servile work, what constitutes acceptable work for the Sabbath or for the high days?
Or when he says no manner of work on
Yeah.
the Sabbath day, what does that mean?
So we're talking the regular Sabbath.
Yes, the regular Sabbath.
Oh, well, shoot. I mean, what we covered it. Okay, so
I guess for an example, like, I know we're not supposed to really work, but like the broken away or the
Oh, yeah.
dishes in the dishwasher.
well, I wouldn't do
I
that.
guess, okay.
I wouldn't do that. Let's go to. All right, so watch this. This is how I quantify. I put it in the category of absolutely necessary and forgotten. Like literally, okay, you might be like, "Ooh, I got 2 plates. I don't like that," right? but the world's not going to end if you have 2 plates because you made a sandwich for the Sabbath. You dig? So putting some dishes in the dishwasher, you don't really need to do that, right? Like you don't, right? Ironing your clothes, I don't iron my clothes. You know what I'm saying? Because do I really need to iron my clothes? If I want my clothes to be pressed, guess what? I'll go to the cleaners, I'll go to dry clean them, or I'll press them 2-3 days prior to that. You know what I'm saying? As far as ironing on the Sabbath, it's unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to Nehemiah real quick. Nehemiah 13. It's oldie but goodie. Now, I can take it 2 or 3 layers deep. I can quantify what a normal layman like us is supposed to do versus what the priest did. The priests, they were still dancing machines. You know what I mean? Like they were still doing sacrifices, still, chopping wood and washing animals and everything. So the priests never took a break. You know what I'm saying? Because they were consecrated unto the Lord and they had to do the things that was necessary for the temple to continue, right? Monday through Monday, you know what I'm saying? Sunday through Sunday. But the laymen, we were ordered to shut it all down. You know what I'm saying? So watch this. And let me show you the severity of that. And then we'll get into kind of the nuances. You know what I'm saying? Nehemiah 13, let's start reading in verse 5. Nehemiah 13, verse 5. Go ahead, bro.
And he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offerings, the frankincense.
I'm sorry, verse 15, forgive me. Nehemiah 13, verse 15. Sorry about that. New context. Go ahead, bro.
In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and lading asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day.
So these cats are doing their normal work day. They're not treating the Sabbath or that day, the Sabbath, like it is holy and it is set apart. They're doing what they normally do. So the stuff you would normally do that you normally can do is not the stuff you would be doing on the Sabbath. Like totally cleaning your kitchen up after you prepare a meal for the Sabbath. No. You know what I'm saying? Put your stuff back in the fridge and maybe, put them in the sink. Boom. Deal with it when the sun goes down. You good. You know what I mean? Go ahead, my brother.
And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem.
So they buying, like the whole point of the Sabbath is it's special. It's different. That's why the Lord gave us a preparation day. You know what I'm saying? So the stuff that you would normally do and you normally could do. And I mean, it's a wide variety of what I'm like, okay. And I'm not saying this is what you're trying to do, but we had a Q&A a long time ago. And the person, typically when you got Q&A, there's a question behind the question. So the sister was like, so if I wanted to walk on the beach during the Sabbath, is that cool? Yeah, cool. You can go hang out. We went over to Acts. They was by the river. They kept the Sabbath. It was gravy. Okay, well, how about if I wanted to walk on the beach during the Sabbath? And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, what? Well, how about if I wanted to vigorously walk? Then it turned into, can I exercise on the Sabbath? Oh, that's where we were trying to go. Right. But I know, I know of people that on the Sabbath, problem is when you're not having a holy convocation or a holy gathering, you will wind up watching the Cocaine Cowboys on the Sabbath because you don't got nobody to rein you in. So you'll start off watching lessons, and you get tired of watching lessons because then, oh man, I heard that thing. I'm smart. I know everything. Then after that, Lo and behold, you watching History Channel stuff on Jerusalem. Okay. The next thing you know, you watching Star Wars. You didn't went off into the sunset. So my point is, what they were doing was what they would normally do, and we're not supposed to do what we normally can do. We have the preparation day to prepare. Why would God give us a 24-hour period to prepare for something unless He wanted us to behave totally opposite of what we normally would do? That's why we're here. Go ahead, my brother.
Verse 17.
Come on.
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do and profane the Sabbath day?
So he's saying you're profaning the Sabbath day. We just read what they was doing. Now, that's normal stuff, right? Doing their normal work, that's normal, right? Supermom being a nurse, right? She's a nurse, but being a nurse on the Sabbath, get a two-piece, right? That's the whole point. Like, you can't do what you would normally do, which is your servile work, your job. You know what I'm saying? That's a no-no. Then you get into, well, I want to, like who always say, I want to wash my car. Why? For what? What's the purpose? You have 6 days to do that. Like there was a wedding going on down there. No, there's 6 days to get married. Well, getting married, that's a good thing. Yeah, getting married is a good thing. Having a wedding is a good thing. But on the Sabbath, it's how is that holy to the Lord? Now I know people want to be like, well, see, in the beginning, and a man becomes wife, and they become, people, they're BB Jackson around stuff. But the reality is, you got 6 days to do that. The Sabbath is for the Lord. We're supposed to glorify Him with 95% of what we do on the Sabbath, and I'm applying a metric of 5% error, because human beings are stupid. There's always a 5% of error. We're going to do something stupid, right, and wrong that we're not trying to do. Y'all following what I'm talking about right now? Okay, go ahead, my brother.
Verse 18.
Right.
Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. It came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them, and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy.
Now let's go to Mark 2. Now, we're going to go to Mark 2 to demonstrate kind of the necessity of the Sabbath, right? Like we have to, well, technically we could fast, but we have to eat, right? Watch what the Pharisees were telling Jesus and his disciples concerning the Sabbath. And again, we're kind of going the scenic route, because like old girl was talking about, exercising on the Sabbath. Like a person would think that, that's really a bad thing. I'm just, I'm just improving my health. But no, like, how is that holy unto the Lord? You know what I'm saying? Like, you having a preference of how many dishes that you have in your house doesn't hold weight with the Most High God, right? Now, if it's in preparation of cleaning up your house for unleavened bread, absolutely wonderful, but don't do it on the Sabbath, right? You're supposed to prepare for it. You know what I mean? So, Mark 2. Let's see. Let's start reading at verse 23. Verse 23. Go ahead, my brother.
And it came to pass that he went through the cornfields on the Sabbath day, and his disciples began as they went to pluck the ears of corn. And the Pharisees said unto them, behold, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful?
Stop. Now, they're just walking through the cornfield, grabbing some corn on the way to minister. They don't have baskets out there, and they're actually taking corn to put it in their baskets, to put it in their store to sell. They're not doing that, right? So, for instance, like the so-called Jews, right? So-called, what they'll do is they'll have somebody in their house cutting on lights and cutting on the stove and cutting on stuff for them, right? Because, I don't want to kindle the fire, so I'm gonna have you do it. Will, you turn on that light for me. Right, which, if you're dealing with the word, like, dude, cutting on a light, come on now. Driving the car, yeah, okay, combustible engine, but most of us need to drive a car to get to the Holy Convocation, right? So we're not in violation doing that, right? But the problem is, in this instance, they're trying to frame it like they were actually working when they weren't doing that. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, my brother.
Verse 25.
Come on.
And he said unto them, have you never read what David did when he had need and was an hunger, he and they that were with him? How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar the high priest, and did eat the showbread, which is not lawful to eat but for the priests, and gave also to them which were with him. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath.
Let's go directly into Mark 3. Directly into Mark 3. Go ahead, bro.
And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand, and they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him.
Stop. Now, when it comes to, now I've heard this, and let me clarify this. The ox in the ditch, right? And Negroes want to make the ox in the ditch fit whatever they want to fit, right? Well, see, bro, I got to pay this bill, so that's my ox in the ditch, so I got to go to work on the Sabbath so I can pay that bill, and that's my ox in the ditch. I heard somebody try that. Dude, like the ox in the ditch, or in instance this, when it has something to do with health and welfare, like life, yeah, say for instance, your son, they get sick, right? Take him to the hospital. Don't just sit up and let him be little half dead. You understand what I'm saying? You heard? You understand what I'm saying? Like that's getting weird with it. Like, in other words, things that you would benefit from financially, right? No. But if it's a situation where there's health at stake, life or death at stake, yeah, those things are decent and in order to do on the Sabbath, because those are one-offs. Those aren't like your kids are not going to get sick all the time to the point where they have to go to the hospital. That's just a one-off. To where if they so happen to get sick on Friday, you're like, oh man, I got to take my son to the doctor. He's got a temperature. Then take him to the doctor. It's the Sabbath, right? The same way Jesus is going to heal this dude. We're talking situations of, dire need and help. And I ain't talking dire need as in I need to pay my bills, or I need to go to this graduation. That ain't no dire need. That's some human stuff. Go ahead, my brother.
Verse 3.
Come on.
And he said unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth. And he said unto them, it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath day, or to do evil, to save life, or to kill.
Stop. That's what we're talking about. That's the ox in the ditch. The ox falls in the ditch, you're going to get your people together. They can pull the ox out because don't nobody want the ox to die. But you can't make the ox in the ditch be something that it's not. The ox in the ditch has to do with, what did he say? It is lawful to do good on the Sabbath or to do evil, to save life or kill. We're talking about if it's a matter of somebody's life being in jeopardy or danger, absolutely. But anything other than that, and that demonstrates the dire necessity. We're talking about the absolute necessary dire necessity. Sure, that might step outside of the normal parameters of the Sabbath, like taking your kids to the doctor. You feel me? Or, oh man, one of my kids has asthma real bad, and if they don't have the nebulizer or they inhale it, they're gonna have an asthma attack and die. And oh man, they just ran out. We just found out about it. It's on the Sabbath. You better go and get that inhaler. Go to the store and get your butt to class. We don't got to get extra weird with it. Like, nah, dude, you don't do that. Matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah 58. I think the hardest part that we have on the Sabbath, and maybe I need to just speak for myself, the hardest part that we have on the Sabbath is literally letting a slip of the tongue and talking about some stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what we're supposed to be thinking about. You know what I'm saying? At least that's for me. I have to watch myself because I like to talk business. So I have to watch myself. Because on the Sabbath, I just might, next thing you know, we're talking about market forces and all this other stuff and deltas of financial statements. No, can't do that. Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58. We're gonna get to the world famous Isaiah 58, 13. Go ahead, bro.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on thy holy day,
Stop. If you turn your foot from the Sabbath by doing your pleasure, what is your pleasure? Everybody in here has something that they enjoy and or they like to talk about that has nothing to do with God. And I'm not saying don't have no hobbies and just be boring like me, but I'm saying there are some things on the Sabbath that we should not be talking about. We should not be talking about the football game, which I could care less about, or the basketball game, or housewives, or whatever. We shouldn't be talking about the housewives, or whatever. We shouldn't be talking about that. You know, our conversation needs to be, you know, like I always say, encouraging one another. You know what I'm saying? Praying for one another. You know, things that are going to be of service, not some madness, not a movie. You know what I'm saying? And for me, not business, because we need to turn our foot. We need to keep our foot towards the Sabbath, not turn our foot by doing our own pleasure. That's the problem. And doing your own pleasure is not only just talking, but it's actually leaving the Sabbath and going to a graduation, or going to a wedding on the Sabbath, or let's see what else. Y'all give me some scenarios. Come on, y'all. Y'all alive out there, right? Or am I looking at a painting? Yeah, mowing your yard. Come on now. The yard look crazy, it's gonna look crazy after the Sabbath. Come on, what else? Homework. Have somebody ask that. Have somebody ask if they're students. So, what if? It always starts with what if. What if? You know, I have a test that I have to take, but you know, I didn't do my test to study for it. Can I study right when the sun is going down? No. I ain't got nothing to do. That literally, if you in school, it's your job, and you're not supposed to work. What are we talking about? Why didn't you study days or the day before, or why? Because the funny part is, the more and the longer we keep Sabbath, the more and the longer we start trying to figure out some weird stuff to do right when the Sabbath hits, or right on the Sabbath that we could have been done. I need to clean my closet. You feel me? Like, oh man, you walking past your car, man, that rim is looking kind of dirty. You know, what's the sun now? I know that just went down. Like, that's how we get. Like I be saying, we can't get lax. We gotta be serving a servant. You know what I mean? Start from the top of that, my brother. Verse 13. Go ahead.
if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasures.
Stop. Truthfully, you want to put them dishes in that dishwasher on the Sabbath so you can say, because women want to say, my place is clean, I'm happy. Right? Which brings y'all pleasure, right? If the place is orderly and clean, y'all find pleasure, right? Or not, they're gonna be like, maybe. Whatever, you don't know me. I know you. That's why you want to do that. And I'm not mad at it, but look, not on the Sabbath. That's all I'm saying. That's what the book's saying. Stall it out. 24 hours, man. You got the preparation there. Go ahead, my brother.
Nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
Now let's go to Jeremiah 17 real quick. The reason I take the Sabbath so seriously, well, I take a lot of stuff seriously. A lot of stuff seriously. But the reason I take the Sabbath so serious is because I know if we had done that, we would still be in the land. Literally. So think about this, sis. Is them dishes in the dishwasher, is that something your foremother did? Right? That wound us over here speaking English? Can you dig it? Possibility. We talk about some business. That's not something my forefather did that wound up having me over here speaking English. You know what I mean? Jeremiah 17. Let's go 21 on. 21 through 21 through 27, my brother. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Neither carry forth the burden of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do you any work.
Stop. Period. Not just your job. That's why it's real particular in now we crossing the bridge. That's why it gets real particular when it talks about the feast. It talks about no servile work. Because you can do work on the feast. It says, save that which every man needs to do to eat. That is what we need to do. What do we need to eat? We need to cook, we need to set up, right? And then we have a good time, we drinking on the Sabbath. Like, it steps outside the normal parameters of a weekly Sabbath. The weekly Sabbath, though, is, hey, sir, yes, sir. You know what I mean? The feast days, you get a little shake and shimmy, Miss City. You understand what I'm talking about? But that is the norm. That's out of the norm. Go ahead, my brother.
But hallow ye the Sabbath day, as I commanded your fathers. But they obeyed not.
No, it said they listened to everything he said.
They obeyed not.
Come on.
Neither inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff. They might not hear nor receive instructions.
So he said it to him again. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if ye diligently hearken unto me, saith the Lord, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath day, to do no work therein, then shall there enter into the gates of this city kings and princes, sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, they and their princes, the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, in this city shall remain forever.
That's how heavy the Sabbath is. So when it says don't do no work, don't push it. You know, like Remo said in Casino, he said, no, dude, he'll never tell on us. You know, he's a soldier, he's a Marine. Remo was like, why take a chance? Why take a chance? So them dishes, don't do it. You know, I mean, if it's a matter of life and death, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Deal with your kids, it says it's lawful to heal, right? Somebody has a situation on the Sabbath, they need to go to the doctor, post haste, take them to the dang on doctor, the hospital, sit with them, care for them. It is lawful to do good. That's doing good. You're not benefiting from doing that. You know what I'm saying? You receive some sort of pleasure for making sure that your house is clean, and I get it, but why? No, it's not necessary. Any questions and or comments on that?
I have one, so like a funeral,
Nope.
that wouldn't be your,
Nope.
that considered, I know you can't do it, but that considered your pleasure.
Absolutely. Look, I've never seen somebody go, but then again, if I was from Thailand, I think their funeral is a little bit different. But you don't want to do a funeral because you don't want to make yourself unclean with a dead body. I didn't go to my daddy's funeral. Real talk. Look, I'm off Hitler, fam. Like my dad, I found out my dad died, which that's a whole other thing, but I found out he died. Me and my mother flew in on Friday. I went to the funeral home, saw him in there, didn't touch him, didn't touch nothing. Just walked in the funeral home. And that Saturday they had the funeral, and I had to tell my family, which I hadn't seen in, I want to say 30 or something years, I cannot go to my father's funeral because I keep the Sabbath. And I was at Icoj in Chicago the next day while they were having the funeral. I don't care who feels any kind of way about the Sabbath. So that wouldn't be your pleasure. You wouldn't want to do it because you'd be unclean by reason of the dead body. Typically it takes like, since we don't have the water separation, yada, yada, yada. You dig? If you need some script, let me know. You can read through it, yada, yada, yada. Any other question, comment on that? We good in the hood? Who got the next question? Oh, what's up? Oh, next question. Boom. Yeah, you good? That was a thumb. All right. Next question. Who's rocking and rolling?
I did have a question back. I did it.
Yes, sir.
The reason why I'm asking this question is, there was a debate going around with Isaiah 58 about whether, in the one standpoint, was this is only talking about the Day of Atonement.
Well,
And
that's
that comes from, I believe,
verse 3.
verse 6, maybe verse 3 through 6, but I know verse 6 for sure. So there was a big debate going on. And so I just, the brother who was really pushing it was saying, okay, if this is not talking about the Day of Atonement, then where's your other witness for this?
So he is saying that all of this in Isaiah 58 only for the Day of Atonement.
Only for the Day of Atonement.
And he is basing that off of verse
Let's say 3
6.
through 6, so since you said 3,
Mhm.
but is that specific where it talks about the fast?
Mhm.
Talks about the fast. This point where you don't fast on every Sabbath, you
No.
don't fast on the Day of Atonement.
Mhm.
You know, and, I mean, it went all throughout amongst the brothers.
Mm.
You know, and I remember several brothers chopping it up and chopping it up and chopping it up. So
Let's do it.
That's kind of where it went.
Let's have some fun. Hold that thought. I'll get to you. Let's have some fun. Start at verse 1, bro. Verse 1. Because, all right, here we go. Let's go in a parallel dimension. Because I know what the attempt is. The attempt is to say that on the Sabbath you can do your own pleasure. But I negate that. Well, I'm going ahead of myself. My specialty is not letting people see my wheels turning by the time they realize that they got a straitjacket on. So let's have some fun. Isaiah 58, let's start at verse 1. Isaiah 58, let's start at verse 1. Go ahead, my brother.
Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Mhm.
Yet they seek me daily.
Stop. Yet they seek me daily. So that's only the Day of Atonement. Yet they seek me daily, but that means the Day of Atonement only, right? We got a problem, right? Second verse, we got a problem with that. Go ahead, sir.
And delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinance of their God. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to God.
Come on.
Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors.
So it says, wherefore we fasted, say they, and thou seest not. They're talking to God. We fasted, Lord, you don't see it. And it says, wherefore have we afflicted our souls, and you take it no knowledge. So is that only talking about the fast of the Day of Atonement, or is he talking about fasting in general and the Day of Atonement? Question we have to ask ourselves. But the Lord said, behold, in the days of your fast. If this is the Day of Atonement only, why is he saying your fast? He didn't say the days of my fast. He said your fast. So apparently when they're fasting, right, which fasting literally is, like for instance, fasting biblically is no food and no water, right? Point blank period, right? But he's saying in the days of your fast, you find pleasure and exact all your labors. Now I can say, yeah, this is the Day of Atonement is definitely in here, without question. And we know that we're not supposed to, we treat the Day of Atonement like a regular Sabbath, without question. But my problem that I have with this thesis is saying this is only pertaining to the Day of Atonement and the fast of the Day of Atonement. I take issue with that. Let's continue. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 4, behold, ye fast for strife and debate, to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high.
So it seems to me he's talking about two different fasts. He's saying the fast of the atonement is to have your voice held on high, but he's saying that they're fasting for strife and debate. What does that have to do with the Day of Atonement? Like, we don't fast on the Day of Atonement for strife and debate. We fast because we're commanded to, and we want our voice to be heard on high. So I'll take issue with that. Like, for this person to just say, because ultimately what's going on, bro, they trying to Reedy Jackson out of the ordinances of the Sabbath. And I'm taking you the scenic route, and after I take the scenic route and we pick this apart, I'm just gonna fly F-35 over and destroy the whole thesis. The thesis is this only pertains to this this only pertains to the Day of Atonement and not any other high day or Sabbath. Which how are we bringing the weekly Sabbath into this? Because watch this. If this is talking about like watch this. Watch this. On the feast day and the high Sabbaths, we can do our pleasure. So how is this pertaining to a high Sabbath? On a high Sabbath, we can do our pleasure. We just can't do our pleasures on the weekly Sabbath. So why is he trying to lump all the Sabbaths into this? He's trying to say this only pertains to the fast. Then he's trying to lump all the Sabbaths and the feast days into this, which is ridiculous because on the high days, we can enjoy ourselves. We can drink for pleasure. So the bottom half of this, our own pleasure, does not apply to the feast, the high days, because we're drinking and having fun. Like we play dominoes, we play cards, we enjoy ourselves on the feast day within reason. I mean, we ain't out there, shooting dice. You understand what I'm saying? So for him to only make this be about the Day of Atonement and the weekly Sabbath, he's playing with himself. My point is, ultimately, what he's trying to do is not be so confined and boxed in on the Sabbath, so he can do some stuff because he doesn't want to keep the Sabbath. So why don't he just cut straight to the chase? And again, I'm gonna fly F-35 over the thesis and destroy it, but we just picking it apart right now. Where were we?
Verse 5.
Come on.
Is it such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord?
Now that's definitively atonement, without question. Go ahead, sir.
Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, and to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke?
Unequivocally, Day of Atonement. No argument with that at all. But passage verse 2, when they talk about seeking him daily, and then he's talking about your fast, I take issue with that being sandwiched in, and him trying to take this and make this to only be about the Day of Atonement. I take issue with that. Go ahead, sir. Let's keep reading.
Verse 7.
Come on.
Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself thine own flesh.
So my question is, what does that got to do with the Day of Atonement? Sounds like it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath, does it not? Sounds like when he talked about the goats and the sheep, and he said, when did we see you hungry, and when did we see you naked, and when did we see you in prison, right? In other words, this can't just be about only the Day of Atonement. This is about a servant's walk in general. Go ahead, sir.
Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward.
Come on.
Reward.
Come on.
Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity.
Is that only on the Day of Atonement, or is that in our lives, period? In our lives, period, right? Why are we trying to make this only be the Day of Atonement? These are good things that literally we should be doing every day. Not just on the Day of Atonement. And I've never seen anyone go out and feed the poor and etc. on the Day of Atonement like he just described in verse 7. Never seen that on the Day of Atonement. Have you? Anybody seen that on the Day of Atonement? Right. Right. Give me verse 7 again. Let's see if we've ever seen anyone do this on the Day of Atonement, just so we're clear. Verse 7 again, brother. Go ahead.
Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house?
Has anyone ever told you this is what you got to do on the Day of Atonement? So if this is only the Day of Atonement, then we need to be doing this per his thesis in his parallel dimension. We need to be doing this on the Day of Atonement, along with not eating. So someone needs to present that to him. Well, sir, if this is only the Day of Atonement, then what about verse 7? And then ask him, when has he done this on the Day of Atonement? You're going to get it, he hasn't done it on the Day of Atonement, and then you got him in a straitjacket. But I digress. Go ahead, sir.
When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. Then shall
I skip down the verse. So that's another question. Is that only for the Day of Atonement? And when was the last time you did that on the Day of Atonement while you were fasting? That's what you asked that guy. Because ultimately what he wants to do is he wants to just wiggle out of the Sabbath and he wants to do something else. He should just cut to the chase. Instead of trying to be a stumbling block. What are we doing? Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9. Go ahead, my brother.
Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity.
That's just not on the Day of Atonement. That's all the time. Especially on the Sabbath, speaking vanity. Especially on the weekly Sabbath. Go ahead, sir.
And if thou draw
Let me
out
be clear. Especially on the weekly Sabbath, but during the feast, you can talk about the football game. So this definitively does not apply to feast celebrations high Sabbaths of that nature. We can take that completely out of it. So that only leaves Day of Atonement, regular fasting, Day of Atonement and the regular Sabbath. By process of elimination, we're there. And again, if he's saying this is only for the Day of Atonement, then he has to do those other things. The problem is, I've never read, and this is kind of like with the new moons, right? We know, okay, there's something that you're supposed to be doing on the new moons, but I don't have any clear instructions from the Lord saying, thus saith the Lord, when you see the new moon, do X, Y, and Z. I got clear instruction on the Sabbath. I got clear instruction on the feast days. I got crystal clear instructions on what to do. But you see a whole bunch of people trying to tell you about how to celebrate the new moon. And 9 times out of 10, when they're trying to convince you to celebrate the new moon the way that they want you to think, and you ask them, have you done it? They'll be like, nope, I haven't done it. Then you got the other camp that'll be like, well, this is what we should do, and this is what I do. But it's like, the reality of the game is, I need clear instruction, very clear instruction. I do not see, let me bring it back. I do not see on the Day of Atonement that we're supposed to be doing verse 7, you on the offense. So we want to go on the offense. What? Silly statements like that. You get it? You get what I'm saying, bro? Go ahead, my brother.
Verse 10.
Come on.
And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday.
How is that only for the Sabbath? I'm sorry, for the Day of Atonement. I don't get that. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not.
Come on.
And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places.
Wait, is that only on the Day of Atonement? Like, is this only the Day of Atonement? Is this only the Day of Atonement, what we're reading here? I'm just asking y'all, is that what we're saying, that this is only the Day of Atonement? Or is someone trying to mishmash pieces together out of it to turn it into some weirdo doctrine, meaning you ain't got to do nothing? And I'm gonna ask you a question after we finish dismantling this. After I fly the F-35 over and destroy it. Go ahead, sir.
Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in.
Well, if that is the case, then how can we raise up anything on the Day of Atonement, because we can't do no work on the Day of Atonement? I know I'm being silly. I know I am being silly, but I'm just going completely into his parallel dimension and dealing with this scripture from the vantage in his parallel dimension, not the real reality. The reality is, yeah, the Day of Atonement is in there, but also the regular Sabbath is in there also, because these are behaviors that we are supposed to do on the weekly Sabbath. Unless he can show me we're not supposed to be doing these things on the weekly Sabbath, which he can't. He can't. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 13.
Come on.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath,
Stop. That's only the Day of Atonement? I mean, the Lord, if this was just the Day of Atonement on my fast, or the fast that I have chosen, it should be some language or verbiage in there about the fast, if this is only. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? Now, we know on the high days when we're celebrating, we can do some of our own pleasure within reason and not too crazy. So this ain't constituting a feast. So if we talk about a Sabbath, we're looking at weekly Sabbath, we're looking at the Day of Atonement. That's what we're looking at. Those are our choices. Those are our choices only. Is what I am asserting is those are our choices only when dealing with this scripture. Go ahead, sir.
if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
Stop. How is that only the Day of Atonement? How? So the opposite of that is, on the Sabbath, can I do my own pleasure? Can I speak my own words? Or is the Sabbath holy and sanctified by God? Is this day different than every other day of the week? Because if this is only pertaining to the Day of Atonement, then what makes the Sabbath special? Go ahead, sir.
Verse 14.
Come on.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it.
Let's go to Exodus 35. one verse. This is how I'm utterly going to destroy his thesis. There's nobody in here that can tell me on a holy day that's holy to God, you can do what you want to do. No one can tell that. You can't talk about what you want to talk about. If that's the case, we need to just go ahead and go back to Sunday. Because, Sunday's only 2 hours, and then we leave from there, and we go do what the heck we want to do. So to me, it seems like he's trying to turn it back into Sunday, and if you're just trying to do that, just go hit the streets, G. Don't do what you really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm going to ask you a question. Let me fly this F-35, nuke it, and then ask the question. Verse 2. Go ahead, brother.
6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death.
Now, I know what his escape would be. Well, I'm not doing the work. I want to do, but it says what he can't get around is holy. Like, what is talking about Housewives of Atlanta, if not that I did, you talking about the Housewives of Atlanta, which I wouldn't do. How is that keeping the day holy? Right? How is that talking about the drama that's on that TV show, how is that keeping the day holy? You did? How is you and me talking about a football game, which I wouldn't do because I could care less about sports, but let's say me and you talking about a football game after class. Should our mind be on the football game or should our mind be on this wall? Maybe instead of talking about a football game, we should be talking about the struggles we had this week. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we can share in common, and I can give you, or you can give me some techniques or some prayers to help me, or pray for me, pray with me, fast. Like, there's plenty of stuff within 24 hours that we need to be talking about and doing that keeps this day holy, what it was designed to do. And doing my own pleasure, because then we get into this. Your own pleasure is different from my own pleasure. Now it's just based on my imagination, how I feel and how you feel to interpret what can be done on the Sabbath. Versus, we all have a universal standard. We do not do our own pleasure. This day is holy. Therefore, there's only certain things that fall into that category of having this day be special. Now, my question to you is, this brother, is he still keeping the Sabbath?
Yes.
Okay. What does he do on the Sabbath that's different? Because now I talk about whatever a person's doctrine is, it should be demonstrable in reality. So if he really believes that is only talking about the Day of Atonement, then what does he do on the Sabbath that's different than what we do? Yeah, you start chuckling. Hear me.
I personally don't know, but just knowing the brother, there's a whole lot of stuff there that he do that don't line up.
That's all I'm saying.
So just put it in context, how I was drawn into this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to another brother in class,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought up a subject that I wasn't going to engage with on the Sabbath. And I said, hey, bro, can you table that to after the Sabbath? Well, he just happened to be standing here, and he's like, hey, why y'all can't talk about that? I said, I'm not going to discuss something like that. He's like, well, I need you to go read. I know what scripture you're talking about. I need you to go read Isaiah 58 again with some understanding, and then we'll talk about it. And so I turned to the other dude, and I was like, did I offend you by telling you I don't want to chop this up on Saturday? And he's like, no. I said, well, bro, I already know what Isaiah 58 says. And I'm reading it with the understanding that the Lord gave me, not with your understanding. So I think that's where we got a problem. And then he went and got a bunch of brothers and we started chopping it up. Mm-hmm. And it just went along for like months, right? And it probably will come up again. So I'm just looking for something to just, because I still keep a communication with the dude. Uh-huh. Matter of fact, I talked to him last week. Mm-hmm. He's a good brother. As far as, that goes. Yeah. But, this is one script that about every 6 months, somebody gonna hit us with Isaiah 58.
So my question is,
and that was pretty much everybody started saying, look, we know this brother want to do such and such and such and such on the Saturday. So just anytime you bring that up, just all right, brother, just go. But I want to kill him.
You kill him this way. Ask him what he does differently on the Sabbath than what is the norm. Ask him. Because what you gotta do is you gotta take it out of the pages and you gotta bring in the reality.
Well, I already know one thing you want to do with that, that I can't see.
You don't need to, blow a spot up. But I'm saying, just by that, you know he's on some weirdo stuff. And he's trying to justify his weirdo stuff with the Bible, right? So now, what biblical evidence has he put on the table to further his thesis of the digital underground Sabbath?
This whole thing is, he can't find another witness in the Bible.
To tell him
that this is not atonement. As a matter of fact, I'm quite sure you know Brother James from Icoj up in
Baltimore?
no, in Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
Brother, he went to Brother James group,
Mhm.
and Brother James, him and Brother James going back there. Now, if they come up with a resolution or not, I don't know.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not just you going to the lower level folks, he's actually taking this to teachers.
Mhm.
So, just
Here's the reality. Watch this. We read Jeremiah 17, right? Jeremiah 17 outlined from God what he wants us to do, right? Did our fathers and mothers do it? Obviously not. Did our forefathers and mothers not only work on the Sabbath, but 9 times out of 10 did whatever they wanted to do on the Sabbath? So how is he not accepting biblical examples based in reality of people doing whatever they want to do on the Sabbath? Why is he not choosing to accept that? Is my point. Like I would probably wager, well, all right, watch this. Let me show you something. Can you come at your wife on the Sabbath?
no, I can't. I can't.
See, I laser beam right in on what he wants to do.
Exactly. You got it.
Laser beam right on what he wants to do. Uh-huh. Right. Yep. Love. Yep. Boom. I knew it. I knew that's what it is. It just popped in my head like, oh, he wants to do the Macarena on the Sabbath. Nah, see.
As a matter of fact, when the first time you brought it up was in my household with my wife, and I'm like, well, hold on, bro, hold time, baby, go another way.
Yeah, he's out of Paquito. Okay, that dude's a weirdo. Okay. What you got, girl?
So with that being on the table, are you supposed to be dealing with first person? All these scriptures, you know what I'm saying?
The Macarena
Yeah.
on the Sabbath.
Will not be a reason. Are you supposed to start dealing with it?
Mark those that do what now? Cause divisions. Look, man, feel me on this. Now that I've isolated exactly what he wants to do, here's a straitjacket for him. Go to Exodus 19. Keep playing. See, I just have to isolate what he wanted to do. You didn't even tell me, and it's just like, 9 times out of 10, there's only one thing he really wants to probably try to do, which he was used to doing in the world on a Friday night. He was trying to do the Macarena. You fool. You crazy. Because that's going to lead to something else, it's going to lead to something else, it's going to lead to something. Dude, now that we really didn't narrow it down, here comes some straitjackets for you. Let's have some fun. I'm going to have me some fun right now. Okay. Here we go. Let me find it real quick. Let me find it real quick. It's hiding in here. I hate when I look at it and it's hiding from me.
Okay, bro, take time. You got another thing.
Exodus 19, let's start reading the verse. Now, I know what he's going to want to say, but we are setting a foundation right now. And it's going to be a nice spike. We're going to put a nice spike barbed wire straitjacket on it. It's going to be real tight and it's going to cut his feet. He's going to have to give up. All right, Exodus 19. Let's start reading the verse 3. Let's get some context about what we're talking about, right? Because I don't care how anybody wants to slice it. Watch this. When we come, this represents us coming into the presence of God. That's what this holy convocation is for. We are coming into the presence of God on the Sabbath. Now, this is literally them coming to the presence of God. Let's hear some instructions. All right? And then I got more. Exodus 19. Let's start reading verse 3, and then we're going to dance, bro. Go ahead.
And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
So, go ahead, finish it.
For all the earth is mine.
Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9, go ahead, sir.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and relieve thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord.
Come on.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
Stop. Okay. They're about to go meet with God. They're about to literally go into the presence of God. Literally, right? We're literally doing that, but God is not like around here in the building physically in one place. God is all the way around us, right? And he has set his name here. We're using this hotel to literally come into the presence of the Lord on this day. That's another aspect of the Sabbath. That was kind of like a third layer down, and I didn't even go into that. But here's the point. He told them to sanctify themselves and to wash their clothes. In other words, don't come to me unclean and dirty. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 11,
Come on.
And be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall be surely put to death. There shall not a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live. When the trumpet sounded long, they shall come up to the mount. And Moses went down from the mountain to the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes.
Come on.
And he said unto the people, Be ready against the third day, come not at your
Now,
wives.
does that mean play cards with your wife? I mean, play cards. Donald Trump was, does that play cards with your wife? No. What does that mean? We know what that means. No Macarena, right? They go into the presence of God. He's giving them 3 days. And he's saying for 3 days, don't come at your wife. Don't make yourself unclean. If my man wants to do the Macarena on the Sabbath day, I'm glad we isolated it. Now we can really have some fun with this thing. Let's go to Leviticus 15. Come out at your wives. You go into the presence of God, you want to be unclean. We do know that the Macarena does make you unclean. Let's get specific why it makes you unclean. Leviticus 15. He is playing. Next thing you know, he's going to be talking about he wants 3 more wives then. Oh. What just happened? It's a woman spinning. And she burned them out. You see where it goes? You see where this goes. Do you see where this goes? Look, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Okay, I know what Israel God teaches about multiple wives. They teach that it's wrong. I cannot teach that something that's in the Bible that David himself did is wrong. What I can teach is this. No Negro nowadays knows how to do it. Furthermore, show me an example in captivity of doing it. Second of all, how you barely take care of one wife, homie? No, what you want to do, let me stop because I'm getting offended and pissed off. Let me stop. Let's get back to the subject matter. But you see where it leads? You see, oh, well, you know, you can do your own pleasure, matter of fact. I can really do my own, matter of fact. Yeah, You better stop with that Don Juan doctrine, homie. That dude coming with the Don Juan Sabbath doctrine. Church. You want another wife, brother? Church. No, homie, no. You are a sicko. He's a sicko. He playing, dude. Hit the streets. That's what I say, G. Hit the streets. Why you gonna wait? This is what kills me about bros. Why you want to wait to come into the truth to try to go get you 17 wives When in the streets, in the world, a woman is perfectly fine with doing the Macarena and not dealing with you consistently. Why are you gonna try to bring that into the truth? And it all starts with trying to wiggle out of doing the Sabbath right. You see the slippery slope, man? That's why I be like, when it comes to the Sabbath, G, I'm on some, you feel me? Like a funeral for a Navy SEAL. I mean, I'm just like stiff with it. Because you play, and I get that, bro. How long you been dealing with the word? Yeah. I'm gonna prophesy over
I
here.
would say about 8 years, 8, 9 years.
Oh, man, please. He's still wet behind the ears, huh? He ain't put no work into it. Levi 15, watch this. So, if he wants to do the Macarena on the Sabbath, which we all know you can't do, because you can't come into the presence of God unclean, let's further demonstrate that coitus, I'll say it that way, there are children present, coitus makes you unclean. Let's get to it. Leviticus 15. I'm a master at that kind of stuff. I'm gonna Leviticus 15. Now let's get some context of what we're talking about, right? Leviticus 15. Let's start reading at verse 1. Let's start reading at verse 1. This is the thesis of what we're dealing with. What makes a person unclean? Okay? Because all this has to do with, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're just gonna put the straitjacket on. So far I think we have demonstrated that Isaiah 58 cannot be talking about only the Day of Atonement, and furthermore, it can't be talking about any of the feast days, because we can do our pleasures on the feast day. Although I do not recommend doing the Macarena on a feast day. I would not. Dude, I mean, just wait if you can't wait one day, I mean, dude. So we've demonstrated that Isaiah 58 is not only about the Day of Atonement. Furthermore, stepping inside his parallel dimension, if Isaiah is only talking about the Day of Atonement, Isaiah 58 is only talking about the Day of Atonement, he needs to show me where he has, in his past 8 years, done those things that it talks about in verse, 9? Verse 7? He needs to tell you and I, and the Day of Atonement, when it comes up, he needs to be hitting the street doing that. If that is only talking about the Day of Atonement. So he needs to make his thesis demonstrable by his actions in reality. He needs to make his thesis self-evident to us all. He ain't gonna do that. He just popped and split because he want to do the Macarena. So he's just trying to wiggle out. All right. Now now that we isolated what he wants to do on the Sabbath that is unclean, and we demonstrated that you can't come into the presence of God unclean. Now let's further define uncleanliness. And we're gonna see that the Macarena is listed up in here. All right. Leviticus 15, let's start reading verse 1. Verse 1. This is what makes a person unclean. Go ahead, sir.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean.
Come on.
And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness.
Now let's get straight to the Macarena. Let's go to verse 16. Go ahead, sir.
And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him.
Now we know what we're talking about, don't we? We're talking about Jack the Ripper, right? Right? We're talking about a lava lamp, right? Go ahead.
Then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the even.
So now, if he wants to do the Macarena on the Sabbath, then he'd have to wait till the following day to be unclean. If he does the Macarena on the Sabbath, he is unclean for a full 24-hour period. That should deter him from even thinking that he should come into the presence of God after he has made himself unclean. Probably won't though, but go ahead, sir.
17.
Come on.
And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the even.
Stop. Like Samuel Jackson said in Django, oh, I ain't got no problem if you want to have him sleep in there, if you want to burn the beds and everything else. In other words, he's going to have to, after he finishes doing that, it's the Sabbath. Now he's working because he has to take his bed down, all his clothes, put them in the washing machine. You just violated the Sabbath by working. Y'all feel me? Y'all understand what I'm talking about on that? If he wants to go that direction, then after he finishes with the lava lamp, him and his wife got to get up, take all the sheets off their bed because their bed is unclean, right? or whatever's on the walls, wherever is unclean, and they gotta get some Clorox and clean that, and it's still unclean for a full 24-hour period. So now let's see what the problem is. Okay, so first of all, he has made himself unclean by the act. And he's unclean. He has purposely made himself unclean specifically on the Sabbath by choice with the act. He is unclean for 24 hours. So now he's trying to walk into the presence of God unclean based on actions that he decided to do. And he had to work because he can't lay in that same bed where he just dealt with if he's trying to do it according to the book, right? We clear? We savvy on that? Is he boxed in with a straitjacket on that? Let's continue to read. Go ahead, sir.
Verse 18.
Come on.
The woman also with whom man shall lie with, seed of population, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening.
So now him and his wife are unclean for the Sabbath. Now they're getting back to sleep at, I don't know how long, whatever. I don't need to know all that. But I'm saying now they're going to be in the Sabbath tired because they've been up washing their clothes and they're unclean, and it's just not the business. And I know he's going to say, well, a woman on a period, etc. Look, a woman don't have a choice, right? There's no choice. He's got a choice. He can contain himself, or he can choose to make himself and his wife and their bedroom unclean on the Sabbath for a full 24 hours. I mean, is that serious to him? Well, I ain't even dealt with the pimping ain't easy. I ain't even dealt with that part yet. But go ahead, my brother.
Verse 19.
Come on.
And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the evening.
Now, this is a separate thing. Watch this. This my kids' fingers in your ears. I don't try to make this as interesting as possible. All right, so let's say it's the Sabbath, and someone's aunt has come to visit. Is he still trying to do these shenanigans with the aunt visiting? I would hope not, right? Is he following that law also? I'm just saying, if we're delving into it, see that look in your face, you're like, I never thought of that. Because it seems to me that, he's a horny toad, right? So if he's trying to justify doing that on the Sabbath, and I'm not saying he is doing the other thing, we're just dealing with what he's trying to do on the Sabbath, and I think we have thoroughly debunked that he shouldn't be trying to do that. It now leads me to other questions, and I pegged what he was trying to, the Spirit gave me what he was trying to do and the direction he was trying to go in. So I just had that come in my head, so I don't know. Here's my point. Sex on the Sabbath makes you unclean. You got 6 days to do the Macarena, right? Like, why are we trying to, why is he trying to push for that? Like, why is he not trying to push to watch the football game on Saturday? Does he know that's wrong, or does he think that's right? So now, see that? When you bring it in reality, it just gets more ridiculous. So just so I'm clear, watching a football game on the Sabbath, he would do that.
No, he wouldn't dare do that.
He wouldn't dare do that. But on the Sabbath, no, I got one more. I got one more straitjacket for him. One more straight. Man, come on, bro. Another example of coming to the presence of God, coming from the man after God's own heart. This is fair, right? Another latch on the straitjacket. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, I think that might be it. Let me find it real quick. Keep playing. Look at the playing. That is playing. Yep, 1 Samuel 21. If he's still trying to do the Macarena, see, I got a problem with this dude because he's trying to frame it. He's trying to frame one thing he wants to do like that's cool, while simultaneously throwing everything out that he knows he shouldn't be doing. That is egregious, right? And if I want to put it on a scale, I won't say, like, I would rather someone try to convince me that watching a football game on the Sabbath is cool versus the Macarena. You feel me? Like without question, you do. Like, are you for real? But see, he won't come out and say that to everybody. He'll be like, well, it ain't, somebody got to show me why. Well, we can't do our pleasure. No, Negro, that ain't my pleasure on the Sabbath, G. I'm not trying to play no games like that. 1 Samuel 21. Israel, boy. And then we wonder why we over here. 1 Samuel 21. Praise the Lord for wisdom and knowledge, man. For giving me, for letting me know without me even knowing this dude was cracking. You know what I mean? Y'all just saw the spirit in real time, dude. I don't even know this dude. And I know this stuff about him. I should have told him his bike is at the Alamo, huh? Like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. The Alamo. 1 Samuel 21. Now we all know the story. David is on the run from Saul. Watch this. And this directly pertains to the Macarena. 1 Samuel 21, start at verse 1. Go ahead, bro.
Then David came to Nob to Abimelech the priest, and Ahimelech was afraid at meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone, and no man with thee?
So he's coming to the temple. He's coming to the temple. Watch this. Go ahead, sir.
And David said unto Ahimelech the priest, The king hath commanded me a business, and hath said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what I have commanded thee. And I have appointed my servants to such and such a place.
Come on.
Now therefore, what is under my hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or what there is present.
So he's in the temple, literally he's outside the holiest of holies, trying to get some bread because they hungry, because they on the run from Saul. Now, it pops out of the priest's mouth.
Said, There is no under my hand.
For you that you're not technically able to eat this bread. So I don't have no regular bread for you. Go ahead, sir.
But there is hollow bread, if the young men have kept themselves at least from women.
Stop. He can play if he wants to. He can play games if he wants to. Not with me. Not with me. Not with the Bible. Not me, but not with the Bible. Not with God's word. If you want to get down, hit the streets, G. Just leave it alone. Hit the streets. Now, we all know what kept from women means, right? I mean, it kept themselves at least from women, right? I got some holy bread, but at least have you not? Go ahead, watch this.
Verse 5.
Come on.
And David answered the priest and said unto him, Of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days, since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy.
Stop. And their bodies are holy. They haven't defiled themselves with women in the last 3 days, so they are holy. Go ahead.
And the bread is in a manner common, yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel.
He says, because you make that one qualification, I got you. You can eat this bread. You can't play around, man. Like that, there's a certain level of defilement. Now I know I got to throw this out there because I know women will be like, I got a headache and I don't want to be defiled. So let me throw this on the table for sisters trying to get out of, Let's go to 1 Corinthians 7 real quick. Because I know what Brother Fontaine said. I'll get a brother calling me up on a Thursday because his wife's trying to pull a fast one on me. Brother, why'd you even breathe? Oh wait, I don't think that's it. Hold on, let me see. Let me find out. Are we clear that the Macarena crystal clear? So you can deal with you can directly come at it what he's trying to do with these scripts. Like, my guy, you are playing right now, and you get with me later on for the Don Juan stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I literally have an algorithm that I wrote for brothers who want to try to go and grab an emotional wife. I literally have an algorithm that you can read to them to see what their true intention is, and then expose them in front of the world as clowns. Now again, I will not teach that per the Bible a multiple wife is wrong, because I see examples of it. And matter of fact, the Lord gave David multiple wives. But brother nowadays in captivity trying to pull off a multiple wife, he ain't trying to pull no multiple wife out according to this. He trying to be on some player action. And to him, I say, you may as well just hit the streets. You'll find it easier than trying to, and furthermore, watch this. Why does he need your approval and to convince you of it? Why don't he just go ahead and do it? Why, how come always when bros be on that, they want to convince everybody around them for what they believe? If you believe it's the business, my guy, go ahead and do it. But realize you're going to have to kick rocks the minute you endeavor in that. Why do I need, look, watch this. Do I need to convince anybody in here to keep the Sabbath? Because I keep Sabbath. That doesn't need to be my conversation every time we talk to each other, right? About how I can do my pleasure and then Don Juan. That doesn't need to be that. Like, do I need to convince anybody in this room that we need? If he believes that's cool, go ahead and do it. And just playing, and that's fornication, and you're gonna wind up instructions on how to do it properly. There isn't any. Like, for instance, in my algorithm, okay, say you got 3 wives, right? 2 of your wives have children by other men, right? Your wife is dealing, she's mad at the other wife, and one of her children acts up, and she wants to spank that child, but you know it's not justifiable. How do you handle that situation? Right? Some jealous woman wanting to spank your kid, right? That's what we're talking about. How do you handle that? Dude, I don't got no elders to call that's had, hey man, look, this is what I'm dealing with right now, bro. I need some help. I don't got nobody. Nobody I know has a multiple wife. Nobody I know. I have no elders. I have no elders that have multiple wives. I have no elder that has had multiple wife relationships or marriages for 10, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I have no elders. I do have elders that have been married for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 25, 30 years to one woman. I can call them with some advice, but not know, for instance, okay, I want another wife, right? So do I have another marriage, wedding ceremony for each wife? And since I can only have one wife on paper, how does that work? Dude, stop. It's too many inherent problems with that, right? And furthermore, trying to convince his wife of that, that's a nightmare. She's trying to browbeat her into doing that. And even if she goes for that, he's gonna get some high grits one day. I'm just saying. And furthermore, we know that Jacob had 4 wives so they can have 12 kids. How many kids does he want? How many kids does he have right now? Whoa. I got attacked from this angle. High behind wheel. Wait a minute. I feel I'm outnumbered right now. All right, so he has some. See, y'all see what's going on in reality? Like you see how the spirit is moving in reality. I don't even know this dude. But I didn't went from, I wonder what, to wait a minute, hold up, to, oh man, he tripping to, oh, what about them kids though? I better stop watching this thing.
I didn't know everybody knew. I thought it was just amongst the brothers.
Well, they got wives, and one woman that heard something about a girl, you know, he said he was a multiple wife. That's crazy. You know that girl? That's how that happened. Whole bunch of yeah, girl, you know that girl. Wait a minute. So let's get to that. So he got okay, so here we go. So he has a gang of kids. Does he want more kids?
No.
How many kids does he want total?
It's a bunch. You just said it, when is the Lord gonna do it?
Okay, so let's ask this question. Matter of fact, since we here, y'all don't mind if I pull up the multiple wife algorithm and ask questions pertaining to this ridiculous, or y'all want to deal with something else?
Everybody okay with
I was like, I've been waiting on this. So let me see if I can.
Oh, you need to watch it. You really need to hear. And like the brother said, if it's not something, you know, why not discuss it?
I'm just saying, well, you know, if you feeling froggy,
We talking to everybody.
Yeah, we're not calling no names, so.
we ain't calling no names like corrupt. All righty. All righty then. And multiple wife algorithm. How about you do me a favor and read this, and I'm just gonna stand here and be quiet. And this was developed specifically for situations like this. And I even have another questionnaire which deals with the kids, and in this questionnaire I asked, will you be providing housing for all of your wives, and what is the square foot of the house that you intend to purchase to house all of your wives and their children? Will you be setting up 529 college savings accounts for all of the children that you desire to have? Because now we're going from a theoretical Humpty dance into actual reality, and have you prepped and thought about this? Because with everything, there is a prep and there is a financial cost in reality. Please read the multiple wife algorithm.
All right, multiple wife algorithm. Start off with this. Raise your hand if, one, you personally know real life people involved in a relationship where the man has consistently committed his finances, time, and guidance to his multiple wife household.
Stop. Anyone know that? The key to this is consistently, not dice roll, not Phineas and Hopley. Go ahead, sir.
This shows that anyone pondering this idea lacks multiple real examples and only has a theoretical appreciation for the concept.
Stop. Guys have a theoretical appreciation for the concept of having a gang of women because I guess it makes you feel cool. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm cool. I got 2, 3 girls. But in reality, in the truth, we have passed theoretical concepts, right? It don't make you cool. Matter of fact, if you haven't thought about the first thing, which do you know somebody that is currently involved in a relationship where a man consistently dedicated his finances, his time, and his guidance? If you don't have that as the basis, you are shooting in the dark. You going off what you think is cool. And this second question deals with that. Go ahead, sir.
Raise your hand if, number 2, you personally know men and women that have habitually committed fornication with multiple partners.
That should be everybody's hand. Stop it. Everybody in this room knows people that have done hit and runs and had, yes. Right? Sir.
This shows our point of reference as capture is mostly fornication.
Right. Our point of reference as it relates to relationships, our point of reference is primarily fornication. So now that we know where our point of view or our point of reference when it comes to relationships is, go ahead, sir.
Follow up with number 3.
Come on.
In the Bible, we don't have a clear framework on how to structure the day-to-day operation of a financially consistent, committed plural marriage. Please give me your interpretation of a proper plural marriage.
Come on.
This shows us there's no concrete day-to-day structure put forth in the scripts that we can use to standardize and or efficiently streamline the financially consistent, committed plural marriage process.
Please read that again, sir.
This shows us there's no concrete day-to-day structure put forth in the scripts.
We do not have a concrete day-to-day standard version, or should I say a standardized instruction on how to have this operate on a day-to-day, week-by-week basis. If our point of reference in reality is fornication, if a majority of our point of references as it relates to relationships is fornication, that is the framework that we're using to think about a multiple wife or a plural marriage. It's from a fornication standpoint. Because again, please read that from the top, sir.
This shows us there's no concrete day-to-day structure put forth in the scripts that we can use to standardize and or efficiently streamline the financially consistent, committed plural marriage process.
Financially consistent plural marriage process. I can read about David, but I can't read about how, and furthermore, David was a king. So he had resources. We talking about some Negroes that could barely feed themselves. We talking about some Negroes that's in at most a 1,000 square foot apartment trying to have 15 wives. Negro, please. Negro, please. Go ahead, sir.
Each person only has their own theoretical appreciation for this concept.
All in their minds. And the foundation of the concept is fornication. That's the foundation of it because that's what we have known. Go ahead, sir.
Number 4, committed plural marriage.
What's the benefits actually committed plural marriage? What's the benefits of it? What's the benefits for a woman and a man in this? Now you got to do, now you go from dealing with one mouth, okay? Hey, y'all, women gonna throw a tomato at me. You go from dealing with one mouth to 2 mouths, 3, 4, 5. Look, what was Jacob doing? Jacob was hiding in the tent while they was doing an auction for some dang on, what was those, marigolds? Mandrakes. They auctioning him off with some mandrakes. He hiding in the corner. I mean, that's a real life biblical example, right? He hiding someplace while his 2 wives is negotiating on who he's gonna spend the night with using some mandrakes, man. That sounds scary. Got to deal with 4, 5 different personalities and 6, 7, 8 different kids, and you know your multiple wife is gonna have probably some kids from another marriage situation. So now you up in there, and do you spank her kids, and can she spank those kids, and then they all beefing with you, dude? Stop it. So you wiping your head right now. You like, oh Jesus. Yeah, brother.
If so, what are 6 benefits for both parties, men and women?
I need 6 benefits for the man and the woman. If someone is contemplating a committed plural, a financially consistent committed plural marriage, I need 6 benefits before you even tell me about it. For the man and the woman, 6 benefits. So how your boy give you 6 benefits, right? And if you can't give you 6 benefits,
this reveals the true intent, carnal desire for, follow-up questions to their interpretation of plural marriage.
So we got follow-up questions, but that's the multiple wife algorithm that I created. So yeah, I don't know how we got here. You know what? Bump that. Let's read that. Let's get into it, man. Skip it. Let's get it, man. Let's go. Go ahead, my brother.
What amount of money should you have available before you pursue an additional wife?
Please read that one more time.
What amount of money should you have available before you pursue an additional wife?
Good question, man. Right? 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 Super mom. Good question.
I'm going to sell the money you have for the first one.
Right. Right. That's all I'm saying.
And then the second one, you might have nothing for the first, you might be for the second, and take the second, right?
Come on now.
For the second.
That is why we have the most. Because see, here's the thing. What happens is a bro just one morning just springs it on his wife and then tries to browbeat her into doing it. That's why I have this. So you need to, bros need to ask this question, women need to ask this question. And the question is, how much bread do I have to have before I even ponder? Not that I'm pondering it, don't get it twisted. How much bread do I need to have in the bank, as they say? Les banques. How much money in les banques before I start pursuing another wife? Good question, right? Nobody ever asked that. Because see, what it is they on some old, they on some Willie D to clean up, and that's what they're trying to be. They're trying to be backdoor, Johnny Backdoor. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? No, Negro, that's not how. Like if it's cool when a person gets married and it's a celebration. Like I've never met nobody that has hidden their marriage from the congregation, right? Right? Somebody that's getting married, they announce it to the congregation, everybody shows up, we do an electric slide, it's all good, right? Boy, minute, I just might know what you're talking about, now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm saying someone that's normal people, they don't hide their marriages, do they? They be like, hey, this is my wife. Hey, that's my husband. We get married. It's good, right? Not, the sneaky snake. It ain't like that. But back to the questions, how much bread should a man have, right, before he pursues that? Go ahead, sir.
What is the process of courting and marrying another wife?
Great question, right? What's up? Which was the first question? Pleasures on the Sabbath? Oh,
The money, what about the money?
And that question, do you incorporate the new wives' money? Or is it over?
What? Please. You, man, please, look. Now, here we go, Supermom, because typically when dudes be trying to slide and grab another woman, it's because they ain't tight and they're trying to get a gang of women to make them King Joffrey. Right. Now, in reality, I'm not never thinking about no woman's bread. I'm only concerned with my bread. Not, because I'm going to keep it 100 with you. A woman's bread is her bread. I'm going to keep it real with you. And at any given moment, don't ask me how I know, but at any given moment, a woman can go in whatever direction she so chooses to go in. I'm not going to have myself vulnerable, period, in the story. And I always get that advice to bros. Like, don't you never, look, if you move up into a woman's spot, you can be vulnerable. If she turns, you're going to be out on the street, not her. The police are going to show up with you in handcuffs. You're going to have to bail out. I know that not for personal experience, because I would not have myself be vulnerable for no woman on this planet. But I'm saying, I know bros that moved in and got caught up and wound up sleeping in a park for about 3 or 4 days. So to answer your question, we're not worried about how much, because 9 times out of 10, a woman ain't gonna be like, ooh, I sure do want to be a sister wife. That's not, it's usually the dude on some old, hey man, it's usually that. So how much money does he need to have before he even starts thinking about that? And I can guarantee he ain't thought about it. He's thinking about a diversity plan. He's thinking about some diversity. That's what he's thinking about, G. Go ahead, y'all. We can end it anytime y'all want. Y'all got some questions. Because again, this is something else. This is the defense that I developed for this concept. Because it's ridiculous. Go ahead.
How does the household hierarchy between wives work?
Please read that again, sir.
How does the household hierarchy between wives work?
Which wife is calling the shots? Well, the problem with that concept is this. Hagar was a handmaid, G. So there's provisions for women that are enslaved or servants that are given to someone, and yes, they are wives, right? But they don't, it's a whole different trip. In other words, Hagar was a handmaid. She was a servant that was made a wife, right, by her choice. But in reality, what about Apua and Samuel's mother? What was her name? Hannah. What's that? They was, right? She making fun of her. You ain't got no baby. Oh. Baby, don't worry about it. Don't I treat you good? Don't I give you this? Don't I do that? What is the household hierarchy between them? Like, in other words, and we don't even know. We don't know. That's my point. Now, if we want to go to the Mormons and, okay, which might explain why dudes is trying to run to the Book of Mormon now that I'm thinking about it. They might be trying to run to the Book of the Mormon because there's a clear framework for that among the Gentiles, which have the resources and some slaves. Go ahead, my brother.
How do you explain out of the Bible what your wives are to expect and how to behave toward you, each other, and the children within a plural marriage?
Please read that again, sir.
How do you explain out of the Bible what your wives are to expect and how to behave toward you, each other, and the children within a plural marriage?
No clear instruction on that in the Bible. Here's my point. Ain't nobody thought of this. They just have an intellectual appreciation for having a few chicks. They ain't thought about it. Their intention ain't. So we'll end it on that note. I got a gang of more questions on the multiplied algorithm, but I think we have thoroughly dealt with your boy, and I don't even know this dude, and we thoroughly dealt with it. Praise the Lord God of Israel. Praise the Lord. What we got? What's the next question? Everybody's like, dang, didn't expect that. Hey, you know. What's up?
From the lesson earlier.
Yes, sir.
You were saying, in 1 Corinthians 5:1, like, how you can show the meaning behind that scripture, but like, you know that doctrine they got with the Gentiles.
Wow. All right, you ready? All right, so here we go. Let's read 1 Corinthians 5 and verse 1.
Go with the question again.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Tom. Let Matisse know this.
Oh, I was just asking him, he was saying that he's gonna break down 1 Corinthians 5:1 as it has to do relating to Gentiles in Israel, you know, Gentiles.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. 1 Corinthians 5. Give me verse 1, please. 1 Corinthians 5, verse 1. Go ahead, bro.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication
Give me 1 and 2. Give me 1 and 2. 1 through 2. Go ahead, bro.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife. And ye are puffed up.
Oh, that's it, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Finish that, please. No, you know what? It was just 1. Give me 1 again. I'm sorry. Give me verse 1 again, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife.
All right. So he's saying, normally, or should I say, it is not common fornication. There you go. It is not common as far as fornication is concerned among the Gentiles, which are Europeans, which are biblical definitions, which are Genesis 10 Gentiles, not Israelite who lost his passport and he's mad, at his auntie because she got his EBT card, like none of that stuff. Like we're talking about real sons of Japhet. Paul is saying, hey, usually among the sons of Japhet, you're not having a man deal with his father's wife. So if he's saying this is not common among them, who would that be common among, according to the scriptures? Now, give me an example that everyone in here should know about a man having his father's wife. Who else? I'm gonna let y'all think of it. I'm gonna just shut up.
Oh,
Pow!
what's his name?
Reuben and Absalom. So, if we have a story in the Bible where a man was disinherited by Jacob because he had his father's wife, he cannot be talking to no Israelites, because we have biblical examples of a man having his father's wife. Matter of fact, let's go to Leviticus 18. Matter of fact, we got a law in the Bible that talks about, that was given to Israel to not do this. He ain't dealt with the Gentiles. He didn't give the Gentiles the law, statutes, and judgments. He gave it to us to teach to them. Paul's telling them Gentiles, this fornication ain't really known among y'all, but guess who is known among? Now, we ain't doing this now, thank God, right? That'd be some weird, dude, bro. What are you on right now? Get up off whatever you on. Leviticus 18, let's start reading that verse. Leviticus 18, let's start reading that verse. Bump that. Give me verse 5, bro. Give me verse 5. Give me verse 5. Go ahead, my bro.
You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord.
Come on.
The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
Come on.
The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover.
That's your stepmama, right? No back door creeping with your stepmama. Go ahead, sir.
It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover.
So let's not be weird, right? That's the bottom line to it.
Let's not be a weird,
Let's not be a weirdo.
please. Now let's go to Genesis 35 real quick. So if he's talking to some Israelites, right, that forgot they was Israel or lost their passport and they put the wrong iPhone code in their phone, or, you know, they lost their wallet and, you know, they ain't got no ID no more, and they bumped their head and they can't remember where they put their socks, right? Why is he talking about some fornication that I got clear biblical examples of Israelites doing it? This can't be talking to no Israelites that lost their passport and got mad at the Northern Kingdom and all this other stuff. Stop being goofy. If somebody tried to tell me that, I'll take them right here, read that to them, take them to Leviticus 18, read that to them, then take them to Genesis 35 and read this to them. Genesis 35, we're going to start reading it, let's see, Genesis 35. I'm going to start reading that verse. Yep. Let's start reading Genesis 35. Let's start reading verse 20. No, 19. Let's read it 19 so we can really get some context of what's going on. Genesis 35. Start reading verse 19. Go ahead, my brother.
And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem.
Come on.
And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day.
Come on.
And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass when Israel dwelt in the land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard it.
Stop. Clear as crystal. This is Reuben, his son, laying with his father's concubine, just like Absalom lay with David's concubines. We got clear examples of Israelites doing this abominable behavior. So how can, in 1 Corinthians, he's talking about some fornication that is not common among the Gentiles? He's right, because he's talking to some Gentiles. He's talking to some Europeans. He ain't talking to no Israelites that, lost their account password and they can't get into their cryptocurrency so they can exchange their Bitcoin. We ain't talking about no weird stuff like that. Savvy? Keep reading, sir.
And Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali.
Now see, I can't teach that multiple wives is wrong because we're reading about our patriarch. But the reason that the Lord gave him multiple wives is for a different reason versus he wanted to sow his royal oaths. You know what I'm saying? He's not on no coming to America action. You dig? Matter of fact, he only wanted Rachel. He got tricked. And then from there, it was like, well, what about this? Well, take my wife, take my handmaid. And now he's sitting up in a tent hiding while they negotiating with some mandrakes. That don't sound hot. I'm just being real. That does not sound hot. It sounds like you cannot run from all those mouths that are beefing at you because you ain't got no bread and they need to get out that 1-2 bedroom apartment because there's 50 people up in there and life sucks. That's what that sounds like. I'm just being real. Does that sound real or does it sound like, y'all know me, I'm brutal. I'm straight brutal. So let me see. And let's see what the result of, let's go to Genesis Let's see, we got disinherited. Give me one second. Let me find where. Yep, Genesis 49. Is that where it is? Genesis 49. Yep, Genesis 49. Matter of fact, he was the firstborn and he lost his blessing from the Lord, from his father. He lost the firstborn blessing because he did the do with his father's concubine. And matter of fact, what happened to Absalom because of what he did with his father's concubines? He died, right? Got killed. Two examples of Israelites that did something foul. In other words, that fornication that Paul is talking about that is not found among the Gentiles. Clear example. Why are we trying to pretend that this is not talking to some Gentiles and it's talking to some Israelites who has a law in the law of Moses against that thing, and clear-cut scriptural examples that they have read to know not to do it? We playing. Genesis 49. We're gonna start at verse 1. We're gonna go 1 through 3, no, 1 through 4. 3 and 4 is the crux, but I need to have us understand where we are in this pot. Genesis 49, we're going 1. My brother.
And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
Come on.
Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, in the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power.
So it sounds like he's complimenting them, right? Watch this jab to the gut real quick. Go ahead.
Unstable as water.
Stop. You crazy. That's what he just said. Unstable as water. Reuben, you're crazy. And why is Reuben crazy? Go ahead, sir.
Thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest it. He went up to my couch.
Bada bing, bada boom. So, for someone trying to tell me that in 1 Corinthians, so let's go back to 1 Corinthians 7. For some half-crazy Negroes, which, by the way, they got this doctrine from Abba Bivens. Matter of fact, I found my notes from what I had in the Gentiles lesson on my phone. Because I remember we was talking about it. Were we talking about it? We was talking about it, and we was talking about that too, right? I found my notes. So if you want, you can take a picture of the notes and then you can do your own research. But it tells you all about Abba Bivens, and that ain't Michael Bivens' uncle. Yeah, that's the dude that came with 12 tribes chart. That used to get into fights when he was street preaching and all that other stuff. A complete maniac. And from him, he was the first person to teach that Northern Southern Kingdom doctrine. It was him. Before him, it was not there. So he's where everyone got that from. And usually that doctrine stayed in the crazy camp's path, but because nowadays we're so disenfranchised and we see our brothers and sisters get shot dead in the street, it's taking hold because Israel's mad. But we need to be mad at, who do we need to be mad at? Ourselves, our forefathers, not the white man. I'm just being real. So let's go back to 1 Corinthians 7. Oh, that wasn't that. That was 1 Corinthians 5. I'm sorry. 1 Corinthians 5. Let's go back to that. I think I got one more for it too. Give me verse 1 again, my brother.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife.
How is that talking? How is that not talking? How is that talking to Israel? Is what I'm asking. How is that talking to Israel? Let's see. Give me. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Give me Amos 2. Here's another one. This is off the cuff right here. This is that private stock. Dust it off. Crack it up, smell the cork, put it in the glass, sift it around. Say, yeah, this is it right here. This is that private stock. Amos 2. Amos 2. Watch this. Give me 6 and 7. 7 is the crux. 6 and 7. 7 is the crux. Go ahead, sir.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver and the poor for a pair of shoes.
Now listen, now he's saying for 3 transgressions and even 4, and he's directing this strictly to Israel. Watch one of the transgressions that our forefathers were getting busy with. Go ahead, sir.
That pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek, and a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name.
That's Israel, homie. So him trying to see, you see, that's not the Israelites. That is no, that's not the Gentiles. That's some Israelites that lost their passport. No, Negro, that is some Gentiles. Because Israel is famous for doing this foolishness. Give me verse 6 again, brother. I'm sorry, verse 7 again, please. Go ahead.
That pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek, and a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name.
Yeah. So trying to pretend like that ain't trying to pretend like that is Israel when Israel is famous for that.
It's done. Basically.
Cool?
Yes.
Any other questions? Pow.
So I understand that there's like a requirement to become a teacher or whatever, but are there any like biblical requirements to become a reader?
No. Well, we do it. This is what we do it based on. Go to Numbers. Hold on real quick. This is what we do to decide if a person becomes a reader. I'm a little bit unorthodox, though. I have thrown people into the fray. Numbers. Hold on real quick. Oh, you know what? Hold on real quick. Yeah. Yeah. Numbers 14, I teach. Numbers 14, Mom. There aren't any biblical requirements that we can outline to say that a person, has to jump through 15 hoops to be a reader. But this is what we base it on. Let me find it real quick. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. Yeah, I bet. Numbers 14, give me verse Arama. That's my version of what Brother Danny does, which is turn the up. Numbers 14, Arama. I love Brother Danny. Numbers 14, start reading verse 20. Let's start at verse 20. We're going to dance a little bit. Numbers 14, start at verse 20. Go ahead, my brother.
And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it.
Skip down to verse 32. No, verse 31. Yep, go ahead.
But your little ones, which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring
I'm sorry,
in.
28. I'm sorry, verse 28. Go ahead, sir.
Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me.
So what we do is based on that number and based on the number of, that the age of accountability quote, quote unquote, that Bowie has put out, which I don't have a problem with. 20 and up is like when we say a person can read, you know what I'm saying? 21, 20, 21, that's around that time frame. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no kids up here reading, but that ain't a problem. So that's what we base it on. Period. Just that simple. Go ahead, bro. Give me some more.
Verse 30.
Come on.
Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun.
And Eleazar and Ithamar too. They made it in. They made it in. The Levites are different. They're a different breed. They were like, I want to say, you can see where Eleazar and Ithamar made it in the promised land. They weren't accounted for the common folk dying. Just so we're clear. Brother Travis in Vegas showed me that. That's a good one. That brother's deep too. Skip down to verse 36. 36. Go ahead, my brother.
And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him while bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before the Lord. But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that were to search the land, lived still.
So what we do is when a person turns 2021, we have them read for Q&A first, so they can cut their chops, right? And then after they read for a couple of Q&As for, a few months, then they get thrown into the fire. So that's how we decide, when a brother reads. Any question on that? Shepherd's Tabernacle? All right. Now, sis, I didn't forget about you. You raised your hand and I told you hold it. You good? You forgot? Okay, let's roll with it. Oh, you just stretch. You just okay. All right, never mind that. All right, who's got another question? Let me see what time we got. Wait, when do we get kicked out of here? Right now? Like right now, right? 6:30. All right, we will go until 6:30, unless someone doesn't have that question. Anybody got a question? Boom. That thought, I got you, sir. Yes, sir. No, not at all. It's just like a regular Sabbath with the buying stuff. Because you can't do serve our work, so if you can't do serve our work, you can't have a business won't be open, so we won't be able to process that.
That's not like our situation. We actually travel. 3 hours travel.
Then you're gonna get some gas. That's one of those, don't be on the side of the road with your kids with somebody with pistols trying to rob you. That's what I was talking about. That's the definite ox in the ditch. I don't want them on the side of the road or something. And when I travel to go to like Vegas and up north, I buy gas on the way back. So it is what it is. So yeah, but that's not one of those, oh yeah, like you're not buying a lottery ticket. You're buying gas to get your family back to God. So yeah, handle that. Next question or comment. Bam. Yes. Yes.
Okay, when the Bible talks about each week, if we're talking about the beginning of the day to the beginning of another day, or the end of the day to the beginning of another day?
When it's talking, so I'm not going to just jump and assume I know what you're talking about. Go ahead and work through the question. Let you work through it.
In reference to Passover unleavened.
Yeah.
Okay, when you say let's say you do unleavened from the 14-day Eve to the 21st Eve. So we started because since the day began, from evening to.
You're working it out.
And so evening, beginning of the day.
Yes.
Like the 13th part of the 14th day.
Yes.
And so when we start the 11th, it would be at the end of the period as opposed to the beginning.
Watch this. So we keep our Sabbath, or should I say, the Lord has instructed us to begin our Sabbath at sundown, right? Evening, right? And we're supposed to go from that evening to another evening, right? Which constitutes a full 24-hour period. That's why, are you familiar with military time?
Yeah.
All right, so I can speak to you with this. So if we're saying military time is a full 24-hour period, if you use military time from evening to the following evening, you can put a 24-hour period between those two time frames, can you not? And that would constitute a full day, right? So I think more so your question is not, is a day from evening to evening? I think it's something else.
It's, we have to starting a particular period, like the unleavened or Passover, but even Passover, I think it's saying start at the eve
Yep,
of the 10th day, the 14th day.
14th day.
So
You go
that
till-
eve starting at the back end of the 14th day, or should I make it Sunday?
Oh, okay. Watch this. We covered this last night. Go to Matthew. Remember last night when I went through the whole entire 24-hour period? I think, I don't know, were you there last night? Ah, this is perfect. Okay. Let me find it real quick. I think it was Matthew, oh, snapping turtles. Matthew 25? Yeah, Matthew 25. Matthew 25, this is going to be a Wu-Tang cipher. And I'm going to have to just use my eyes because I had it perfectly chopped up to where it wasn't going to take a long time. But you got to forgive me because I don't have my notes. So I'm just going to be scanning and we're going to be reading and dancing. I'm going to show you exactly what you're asking me. When do we start unleavened bread? Right? It's the evening, of course. But where does that evening fit within a time frame as it relates to the 14th day? That's more or less kind of the question.
And in the Passover itself. Right? So that the Israelites might have this time let out.
Hello.
I say Passover to be in line at the end of the 14th day.
Okay.
So it's not the beginning.
Right.
So she, I think we should have a time with that. I don't want to ask the question that I was told by the other organizer.
I don't have a problem with it. All right, and I get it because I was talking to, he's not here. And I think I know where that comes from. So the issue is when, and like I told him, he's like, well, I took the Passover last night when the fourth, well, I mean, what does the Bible say? Does it say take it at the beginning of the 15th day? All right. Ah, spectacular. Perfect. Perfect. Can you shoot this to him? You can, because I don't want to just hold your phone hostage. You might get a call like somebody trying to break in the crib or something. Deuteronomy. So we're not starting in Exodus 12. We're starting in Deuteronomy 16, just so I'm clear. Are we going to Exodus 12 at all? Okay. Deuteronomy 16. We're starting in verse 5. All right. Deuteronomy 16. We start in verse 5, right? Or where do you want to start? All right. Go ahead.
Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. But at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt.
Okay. And what am I getting from that?
That's on the back end.
Okay, so basically, right, it's saying, there shall sacrifice the Passover and eat,
Right.
after going down to the sun.
Yeah.
So, if the new day starts when it's already, the sun is already completely down, it's dark outside. If y'all took it last night, therefore it would have already been dark outside. So you can't do it after going down to the sun, if it's already dark outside. And so you do it. So yeah, so the reason, we say we do it in night is because it is after going down to the sun of the 14th day.
But if it's if the going down of the sun, oh, okay, so what the assumption, okay, so first and foremost, we're talking about sacrificing the Passover on the 14th day, right? So what we're not saying, but I don't know, I think this might be an issue of splitting hairs, honestly. Here's the issue. If we're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, the hypothesis is because it's the 13th day, at the going down of the sun of the 13th day, it's not Passover. So you can't sacrifice it at the going down of the sun on the 13th day. But the going down of the sun of the 13th day turns into the 14th day, does it not?
It does, but it says on the 14th.
Well, hold on, you just answered the question. You said it does, right? So when the sun goes down on the 13th day, when the sun goes down, it becomes the 14th day, right? We all agree on that, right? We don't disagree on that. Okay, go ahead.
Let's go to Exodus 12.
All right.
Let's go to 6.
Hold up real quick. Hold up real quick. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, we're going to Exodus 12. Okay. All right. Exodus 12, where we at?
Let's start.
15? All right. Exodus 12, verse 15. Okay, go ahead.
7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you.
Just so I'm clear, are we talking about unleavened bread or Passover here?
We're talking about both because they go together.
Is there a holy convocation on Passover?
No, but what
So how are we talking about both of them?
I'm going to get to that.
Just so I'm clear, what we're reading here is clearly unleavened bread, not Passover. Just so I'm clear. Go ahead. Start at 15 again, bro. 15, go ahead.
7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you.
Go ahead.
And ye shall observe,
Keep going.
Keep going.
Okay.
and ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you,
Just so I'm clear, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is the 15th day. That's when it starts, right?
Start with 15th day.
Okay, so we're again talking about the 15th day, not the 14th day, just so I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even.
Okay, so like your discussion is about evening, right? It's about, it says at 14th day at evening until the 21st day. Like you said yourself, 15th day, that's the first day of unleavened. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21th, that would be what? The 7th day of unleavened bread. So if we're taking it at, like, use that evening, the 14th day, we're going into, then we would be going into, like the feast at even the 14th day. We're going into it. And that means, pretty much, if you're saying we're taking it at even at the beginning of the 14th day, that means we're ending at even of the 21st.
So how many days is that?
That would,
Total.
that would still be 7, but my point is that.
So wait a minute. So it's still, so it's still the 7 days.
So can I say, can you go to Leviticus 23,
Okay.
32? This is the point we were trying to make here. You're taking the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. But the more, I mean, okay. Oh, Lord have mercy, we're going there with it? So the difference is between even and evening? So, just so I'm clear, we still talking about 7 days, right? That hasn't changed? Okay.
So the question is, if you go to Leviticus 23, 32, now it's talking about atonement. We started to begin with verse 27, talking about atonement. When we read verse 23, it says, in the ninth day of the
Well, hold on, we'll let it read, we'll let it read. Leviticus 23, what now?
32. You put it 27, so you know it's
I trust you. I know you're not trying to pull a fast one. Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23, and we start reading at verse 26, 32, I'm sorry, 32. All right. Go ahead, my brother.
It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
So here's the argument. So when it's even, it says in Deuteronomy 16 and 16, is that the going down of the sun. We know that atonement is on the 10th day. So it says the ninth day of the month of even, or even the evening, right? And that's the beginning of the day. And that's, we're fasting, we're even fasting from the beginning of the ninth day to the beginning of the 10th day, which is not the 10th day. Or we're fasting the beginning of the 10th day, which is at open, the beginning of the 10th day to the end of the 10th day, that's 2 days. Or we're fasting the beginning of the 10th day to the beginning of the 11th day, which is, the end of the ninth day to the end of the 10th day, which is the 10th day. Which would bring the 14th day evening to the.
So back up. Give me that again, slowly. Matter of fact, let's do this. Leviticus 23, start reading at verse 26 real quick. Go ahead, bro. Give me verse 26 and 27.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
So we're talking about the 10th day, not the 11th day, not the 9th day, but the 10th day. How do we get, when does the 10th day start? Does it start in the morning or does it start in the evening? At sundown. Do the Sabbath start when it's kind of getting dark or when it's dark? All right, so we're clear. So on the 10th day, or should I say, when we're dealing with the 10th day, we know it starts when it's dark. We're counting from that time frame. Now, take me through it again with what you just said. And let's skip down to verse 32. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Verse 32.
It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
Okay.
So on the ninth day of the month at evening, from evening to evening.
Right. So when we go on the 9th day at the 9th, when the sun goes down, it's not still the 9th, it's the 10th. Okay.
So that's one of the question, and I can some confusion. So the ninth day of evening, right, at the going down of the sun, the end of the ninth day to the end of the 10th day, that's the evening we're talking about, right? So why is not the same thing for the 14th day of evening, past the 14th day? So when he read the Exodus 12, it was to say, we're talking about the end of these days to the talking about the 14th day at the beginning of that day. To the 14th, the beginning of the 21st day, then you include all of the 14th days, you cut out the 21st day.
That's exactly.
Well, hold
Unless you're saying even is the beginning and the end of the day, but if that's the case, that means here, then we should be fasting for 2 days. And I'm not saying you are, because I don't really work do that, but I'm just saying,
Right.
even if that could be one time or another, when I read Deuteronomy 16:6, it says, at the going down of the sun, which leads me to be who is at the end of the day. And this is what she's saying.
Okay, so this is the thesis. This is what the understanding. We're trying to figure out. Now, I think if we omit from the 14th day to the 21st day, does it get easier to figure out the time frame when we're only dealing with 24 hours versus 7 days? Does it get easier to do that? I'm saying if we omit from the 14th day all the way to the 21st day, because to me that seems where it starts getting extra confusing when we're adding the rest of the days into it. In other words, we go from dealing with a 24-hour period to dealing with a 7-day time frame. Y'all understand what I'm asking? What I'm asking is, we all agree that the day starts at night. We agree on that, right? In its simplest terms. We all agree that a day has 24 hours, right? Now, my question is, because we took the Passover at even, which, yeah. Can we do this real quick? Let's do this real quick. Let's go to the eyewitnesses, right? And let's see if we have crossed over into strange territory. Let's go to Matthew 25.
I'm not saying that it's wrong to do this.
Right. I'm not saying that either.
Okay, so.
Right.
I'm gonna say how I do this, I'm saying that. I do according to what I can read, and
Mhm.
according to and Jesus died for it,
Mhm.
right? I can never.
That's what we're about to read too.
Okay, I can never say that, doing it according to, how he, because he said, I desire to keep the Passover. You couldn't, I mean, people are arguing that he couldn't take the Passover with them and die at the same time as God. I don't know, but,
Here's the question.
the issue is my mother is.
No, go ahead. Your mother.
The issue is, her mother is learn to get a distinction. There's a difference between, and we specify, there's a difference between stating, going to Genesis 1, evening,
Mhm.
and dark,
Mm-hmm.
and E-V-E-N. Are those two different?
I think it's semantics. If we're trying to make evening and even different, I think that's pure semantics, honestly. That's just me.
So what's
But one say evening is dark. Evening is dark,
Mhm.
and then here it says even,
Mhm.
it's going down, it is not yet dark.
And here's the problem with that. Okay, let's go to Nehemiah 13. And anyone who is believing that we need to, so let me ask you a question. No, let's go here. Let's go to Nehemiah. There's too much stuff in my head right now. Let's go to Nehemiah real quick. And we're at 6:30. We just have to wait till they kick us out. Nehemiah 13. Because for me, I know that there are controversies or moderate controversies that will arise, but I like to deal with the eyewitnesses at the time and how they got down. Nehemiah 13. So, I'm sorry, Moms, what's your name? Dolores? Dolores. To answer your question based on what we're about to read, I think trying to say that the evening with the ing and even, they're different, I think is pure semantics, right? Now, furthermore, what I like to do is I like to go with the eyewitnesses in the Bible and how they did things. Because for me, I know if I'm following how they did it, I can't go wrong. You know what I mean? Now, let's see when Nehemiah and them knew the Sabbath began. Let's see what they did. Nehemiah 13, and let's get straight to the point. 19. Nehemiah 13, verse 19. Nehemiah 13, verse 19. Go ahead, sir.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath,
Stop. Is that evening or even? Because what I'm reading is, as it began to be dark before the Sabbath. Now, if we're saying sundown is when it is dark, what people are talking about as it began to be dark cannot possibly be the Sabbath, because he shut the gates when it began to be dark before the Sabbath. So we're definitively talking about dark. That's when the Sabbath begins, right? Not as it transitions. Go ahead, sir.
I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants said at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
Now, are we getting our understanding from the concordance, the difference between evening and even?
No, not this.
Okay. Now, take me to evening and then even. But what we just read here is that definitively sundown when the Sabbath began, according to what we just read here.
Evening, because it is not yet dark.
Right, so he shut the gates.
Prior to Sabbath beginning.
And when did Sabbath begin, according to him shutting the gates? Boom. So, however we want to say evening or even, his actions let me know when it is dark, that is when the Sabbath begins. And the new day begins. Correct. Correct.
When it tells you to do something at eve, at the going down of, it's not saying that's the new day. But clearly here, it does not call it a new day.
Right.
So when it says eve, so that's still insinuating that we're talking about the previous day.
So,
Current day.
give me 4 examples. 2 examples of even and 2 examples of evening, so I can know that they're different.
You mean even where they actually did something, or where the Bible just talks about eve going down now?
Like, I need to where there is a definitive difference of even versus evening. Because right now, I'm just seeing it as semantics. Go ahead, sis, what you got? Perfect. That's perfect. That's exactly where I wanted to go for Matthew 25:4. Perfect. Matthew 27. Okay. Okay. Matthew 27, verse 57. Go ahead.
When the even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple.
So we know that as you continue to read, you know that took these off the cross prior to the name.
Absolutely.
Right, so we're not even here on the system of safety, we have some of that experience, we're not really doing it. Even if we all, you can look at other precepts and other documents, so that it's the same for an kind of like to be merged, to be used down on the cross before.
The Sabbath.
The Sabbath.
Right.
So that's it.
And the eve, and then it's dark and come evening.
Okay, so but my question, just so I'm clear, when do we start keeping the Sabbath? When did the Sabbath start? Just so I'm real clear. That's all I'm worried about. Okay, so, all right. So now we are saying, so now we're actually dealing with a hour and a half difference now from even to sundown.
Doesn't that make a difference as to when the day is? Whether you're the 15th day or the 16th day, based on that hour and a half difference, we follow what I'm saying? Dark versus going down.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, we're saying we are making we are trying to figure out an hour and a half to 2 hour time frame difference between even and evening. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. And we're trying to figure out, does that hour and a half make a difference? We're trying to figure that out, right? I'm asking you, Dolores.
No, precisely, yeah, that's not the issue we're trying to figure out. We're trying to determine when the Bible instructs us to do something, in this case, post Passover, unleavened bread, or whatever you say it is. It tells us to do it on a particular day, we say the eve of, or on the eve. And so we must determine, we call the eve the beginning of that, or the eve.
I always viewed it as being sundown and the beginning of a new day. This is the first time I'm hearing an hour and a half to 2 hour difference makes a difference between even and evening. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Let me ask you this. So back to Matthew 27:57.
Yes.
If it was that eve, and Joseph had Jesus' body,
Yes.
that hour and a half made a difference, if we kept eating and not putting it in the ground?
I mean, this is my question to that, because when I read, I see at even, and he's getting his body, when I read that he's getting his body off of the cross at even, at sundown, he's putting him in a sepulcher. Matter of fact, let's read it. 57, and give me 60, 61. 57 through 61. Because in that 57 to 61, I should be able to discern the hour and a half to 2 hour difference, or I should be able to make sense of what I'm hearing right now. This is all I'm trying to do. Yes.
This question. During that eve, and they're going with Jesus' body.
Which I always perceived it as being sundown. I never figured out an hour and a half. I never saw that.
Okay, hour and a half,
Mhm.
that's, okay. The evening, and the Jesus' body, they handle Jesus' body, they put him in the sepulcher,
Mhm.
and then, shortly after that, so every time I'm like that, shortly after that, it became sundown. Now we're into another day, which is the unleavened bread. So he died on Passover. So he had died after.
How do we do? Go ahead, Rose, go ahead. Go ahead.
He died after, he died after dark.
How are we discerning that though? By just reading 57.
No, that part of it, was at evening, they took him to his body.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying, how do we discern when it became a new day? If we just read, like, there should be some sort of way that we should discern that it became a new day, right? I'm saying clearly we should be able to see, because when I read evening, I'm thinking, okay, it's a new day. Like, we're going, Feast of Unleavened Bread is starting. Like, that's when I read that, boom, that's what I get. I'm not getting, we're going into it, and at this point, it's Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's what I'm saying. And again, I've never heard this before.
Okay, so you're saying that you knew that they took his body.
Yep. Because go ahead.
So you call it eve that, you're saying at dark, they took his body.
Mm-hmm.
So at dark, they took his body and buried it, he already knew he dead.
Well, it couldn't be on the cross. That was the law. The law said it can't be on the cross of the Father. That's what it says in the law. Just so we're clear.
But are you saying you think they took his body, they don't have to be already?
What I'm saying is, when the sun was at evening, which I always figured was sundown from just reading. Now, again, I never had to discern the hour and a half to 2 hour time frame from the getting dark to a new day. Never discerned that. I never heard this before. When I read that his body, which, let's see. Go ahead. Verse 57.
When the even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body...
So my question is, was the body still on the cross, or was it in the hands of the Romans? Okay, Luke 23. Well, hold up though. Before we go to Luke 23, let's finish reading that real quick. I don't do too much jumping. Then we'll go to Luke 23. Matthew 27, let's go 57, and let's finish it at 60, verse 60. Middle of verse 58. Beg the body. Go ahead, sir. Middle of 58, I'm sorry.
Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed.
All right, so I'm not getting if the Romans had it, it was on the cross. I'm not getting the delineation between the 2 hours time difference. Now let's go to Luke 23.
Well, we go to Mark 16, I think Mark 16 is the most.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mark 16, you start with the slave. This is my time.
Mark 16, 15, or where we starting at? 42, verse 42. All right, go ahead.
And now when the even was come, because it was the preparation, that is, the day before the Sabbath.
Stop. Read it again.
And now when the even was come, because it was the preparation, that is, the day before the Sabbath.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Let me digest that real quick. When the evening came, it's still the day before, it's still the preparation day. So the Sabbath hasn't begun yet. Okay. So this is the hour and a half to 2 hour difference, right? This is what we're talking about. All right, go ahead.
Joseph of Arimathea, an honorable counselor, which also waited for the kingdom of God, came and went in boldly unto Pilate and craved the body of Jesus. And Pilate marveled if he were already dead, and calling unto him the centurion, he asked him whether he had been any while dead. And when he knew of it, the centurion, he gave the body to Joseph. And he bought fine linen, and took him down, and wrapped him in the linen, and laid him in a sepulchre, which was hewn out of a rock, and rolled a stone unto the door of the sepulchre.
All right. I mean, I'm going to assume that. I can assume that. All right. So we're talking about from even, there's a difference between even and evening. We just read where it said, according to even, it was still the day before the high Sabbath. All right. I got that. So now, back to the original question. Go ahead.
That's the same between evening and evening.
Mm-hmm.
And say that evening is the beginning of the day after it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
Evening is the end of the day prior to being dark.
Mm-hmm. The hour, that 1.5 or 2 hours, right? Which we took Passover last night at the evening of the 13th day, when it was dark. So Passover began last night when it was dark. We didn't start in the even, the 1.5 hour time frame. We started when it was dark on the 14th day. So now, the question is, so now let's go back to the original Exodus with the Passover, right? See, Deuteronomy 16? Deuteronomy 16. Deuteronomy 16, verse 5 and 6. Deuteronomy 16, verse 5 and 6. Go ahead.
Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. But at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt.
All right. And we're trying to figure out the difference between doing it at the 13th, at dark versus doing it when it's becoming dark on the 14th. That's the difference that we're talking about. Just so I'm clear, right? No? Yes? Okay. Y'all get what I said? The difference between because we're not sacrificing, we're talking about taking Passover. The difference between taking Passover when it's becoming to be dark on the 14th versus when it starts at dark in the beginning. Let me say this. Watch this. Put it in the hours. The difference between taking the Passover an hour into the 24-hour cycle of the day versus the 23rd hour. That's what we're talking about, right? Is that what we're talking about?
And we put it in today's law.
Well, I'm putting it in the hours. I'm trying to, because for me, I'm trying to put it on a timeline to understand. So, did that make sense? We're talking about the difference between taking the Passover an hour into the 24-hour cycle, which still makes it the Passover, versus taking the Passover on the 23rd hour of the same 24-hour time frame. And is there a difference from the first hour versus the 23rd hour? That's what we're asking, right?
The issue is not what the first versus the 23rd. Is there, according to what this is telling us, let's say do it on the eve before the going down of the sun. Now, if you do it on the first hour of Passover, you are still within that 24-hour Passover period.
Correct.
I think that's what you were doing with this. But we're just asking, according to what this say, doing it at eve,
The 23rd hour.
going down to the sun. Yes, so I want the 20th hour, 23rd hour, whatever. However, the book saying to do the sacrifice of the Passover at eve, after going down there. So it indicates that you should do it in the back end of the Passover day versus the front end. That's what I'm saying.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, do we have, can you guys, to further strengthen the point of evening, well, let me just do a little search and let's see what we can come up with. Because according to what we're reading, I guess we should take it on the 23rd, right? That's what we should do. Now, let me see something real quick. So, are we violating the law with a death penalty if we take it on the 1st versus the 23rd? Then that begs the question. Let's go to Exodus 12. Matter of fact, let's stay in Deuteronomy 16. Deuteronomy 16. Let's start at verse 3. Deuteronomy 16, verse 3. Go ahead, my brother.
Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with thee. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction. For thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days, neither shall there anything of the flesh, which thou sacrificest the first day at even, remain all night until the morning.
So this is saying the Passover should be sacrificed on the 23rd hour, according to what we think we understand it right now. The Passover should be sacrificed on the 23rd hour of the 14th. Let's read that again. Read verse 4 again. Go ahead, sir.
And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days, neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at even remain all night until the morning.
So the Passover should be sacrificed on the 23rd hour of the 23rd hour of the 14th day. Is that what we're reading?
Not necessarily. Because when the sun goes down, we typically have a few hours of brightness before it becomes dark.
So 4 hours tops.
So 4 or 5 hours.
So the Passover should be sacrificed on the 20th hour of the 14th day, according to this, right?
What you say at eve, at the going down of the sun. I want to tell you what I read.
No, I'm saying it doesn't say the going down of the sun in Deuteronomy 16, and I'm not trying to split hairs. I'm just trying to really get an understanding of it. I'm trying to get inside of it. I'm asking the question. The question is, according to Deuteronomy 16, verse 4, we should sacrifice the Passover at the 20th to 23rd hour on the 14th day, right? Let's go to Exodus 12 real quick. Let's start at verse 1 and we're gonna dance. Verse 1 and then we're gonna dance. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying,
All right, so we know what's going on. Skip down to verse 5. Verse 5. Go ahead, sir.
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
So is it evening or evening? No, I'm just asking the question. Which is it? So if the evening is different from the even, then that means that on the beginning of the 15th day, we should be sacrificing the Passover lamb. Evening is different than, right? That's what we read. In other words, there's a definitive difference from what we're saying between the 20th hour and the 23rd or the 24th hour. But in essence, it's saying at the evening, which wouldn't mean the 20th or the 23rd hour. It would mean sundown, dark, which would mean the 15th day. You wouldn't?
Are you talking about, verse 6?
Yes.
On the 14th day, you say, kill it in the evening of the 14th day. The evening of the 14th day starts at the 13th day.
Yeah, that's why we took the Passover when they started.
You're still on the 14th, you're not on the 15th.
But I'm saying it said in Deuteronomy 16, sacrificing on the even, but here it's saying sacrificing on the evening, which would make it the 13th. That's why we took the Passover on the 13th when it at sundown, because that's when the 14th day began. Here, if we're understanding something, if we're having this understanding, technically that should be the beginning of the 15th day. If evening is sundown and even is 4 or 5 hours to sundown, then this means we should be sacrificing the Passover at sundown, which would make it the 15th day. And I mean, I'm missing something?
I'm not understanding what you're saying. What he's saying is there's a distinction between evening and evening.
Yes.
They kill this in the evening, they do it every day.
Yes.
You know, in the 15th is not the beginning of the 14th. But you can dispel that by reading what Moses did.
Okay, what did they do?
So,
Keep reading. Where we at?
what's the second time?
All right. 28. Go ahead, my brother.
And the children of Israel went away and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle.
So this is the 14th day at midnight, right? I think it's the 14th day at the beginning of the day, so to speak, at sundown, because that's when they were supposed to kill the Passover. But I could be wrong, but am I missing something here? All right, go ahead, my brother.
And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise up and get you forth from among my people.
So it's still, I'm believing it's the 14th day, because from my understanding, the day starts at sundown at night, so I'm understanding that they sacrificed the Passover before the Lord, because they had to put the blood on the doorpost before he walked through there to kill everybody. Okay.
So let's say that happened at the end of the 14th day, where you can learn about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now dark age,
Mhm.
now the 15th day.
Or the end of the 13th day, which would make it the 14th day.
Well, no, can I?
Go for it. Go ahead.
Okay, the end of the 14th day, they do the blood in the doorpost, dark comes.
So they did it at,
They're going down to the sun.
okay,
On the 14th day.
okay,
Now the sun is down.
yes.
The 15th day.
But they came out of Egypt on the 14th day. That's what it says, right?
The 15th day, that's the 3,000 lives you can make.
Okay.
So we said that in a couple of years, right? So we understand that.
Okay. where we going now? All right. Verse 6. I think we're breaking the rules. We're gonna be mowing the line. I think we probably need to, I don't know,
Well, we said,
Deuteronomy 12?
no, it's, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was different.
Oh, yeah, this is the piece of unleavened bread. Okay. So this definitely ain't the 14th day, yeah. So no new holy day. Say that again. The only way them coming out, wait, hold on. The only way they could have come out of Egypt, so for, Mhm. Yeah, they're not, for sure.
They keep it through the night. Because they're gonna leave us in the morning, they want us to come out until the next. So they're saying they roast it at 8 o'clock night, anything that has left over is supposed to be burned in the morning.
Burn in the morning,
And then, did they take them, or did they leave it there?
seems like they left in the middle of the night.
But they can leave it like on purpose, if you can use it. So you can, okay.
I'm saying that left the Lord give you forgiveness to do stuff according to his will. So he killed the babies in the middle of the baby. He killed the first one. He killed the first one in the middle of the midnight and fell back in other steps in the middle of the night and back him up to leave. That's still the middle of the night. So he's not gonna get you because you left before long.
No. Absolutely not. Because they were supposed to leave. I don't think the issue is leaving the lamb and everything uneaten and everything else. It's It's the timeline. I'm just, again, trying to reconcile myself. Because again, it's the first time I'm hearing this, right? So hold on real quick. I'm looking for something really quick. So again, you gonna get in trouble? I don't want to get in trouble. Again, I don't think the problem, well, as we saw in Exodus 12, and when they killed the Passover, it said in Deuteronomy 16 that it was killed even. If evening is something that's different than even, then I'm unconvinced because again, I've seen them killing the Passover at evening, which would make it a new day, and at even, which the theory is we're talking a 4 or 5 hour difference. So I'm not sold on that. What's selling me is and again, I'm a timeline guy, so I'm reasoning out this timeline. So the answer, okay, so let's get back to it. The original question is, because we didn't went into parallel dimensions, which according to Deuteronomy 16 and Exodus 12, I see the Passover being sacrificed at the evening and at the evening. So we'd have to go through a whole plethora of scriptures at that point. But anyway, but go ahead with what you're saying. Is there a difference? So basically the question is there a difference between the evening and even?
Yes, in this particular situation, because the Bible seems to indicate, which part of the day you should actually partake of the Passover.
And the time frame. And it does not say, let's be clear, it does not say it doesn't say at the 13th day of evening. It doesn't say that.
No, it says he's going down, he's going down 14th, and if he is concluded that the latter part of the day, then he's going down, and the back end of the 14th day.
So the Passover is supposed to be eaten before it turns into the 15th day, according to the understanding of even. But the Passover was sacrificed at evening and even. So that's a problem. All right. So let me ponder this. Let me ask some of my elders what they think about it and what we can prove, and I'll get back with you. But again, the problem I'm having is, let's go back to Deuteronomy 16. I'm not sold. The only thing that's going to sell me fully is if I can see where it says, if I'm seeing the Lord, because from my understanding, the Passover is to be taken on the 14th day, right? If we're taking it at the 14th day at evening, that makes it the 15th day. According to evening and even, according to my understanding of even, that would make it the 15th day, not the 14th day. Let me say that again. If we're supposed to take the Passover on the 14th day at even, because you guys are bringing up the difference between, hold that thought, the difference between even and evening, meaning 5 hours before it turns into a new day, right? Versus evening, which definitively we know dark is a new day. By the theory, if I take the Passover on the 13th day at evening, I'm taking it, or should I say, because I never had a distinguishing difference in my mind between the 5 hour time frame. Now, when we take the Passover at the 13th day at evening, that makes it the 14th day. That's why we're always in alignment with that. But what we're saying is that 4 or 5 hour difference on the 14th day, you're still taking it on the 14th day, which is Passover. You're just not taking it right as you go into the 15th day. That's what we're saying.
Okay, let's look at this. If you take it at darkness, 14 days, the beginning of the day.
No, that would be the 13th day.
Okay, the 13 days at evening,
That would make that the 14th day.
14th day.
Yes.
So you took it
Yes.
at that time frame.
Yes.
So you're going to enter into a midnight. And from that, let's say yesterday, was going into Passover.
Yes.
So we encountered a midnight.
What does that mean?
Because in the Bible talks about that midnight is when he passed over, and then that's when they cried over to the day state. So we got a 24-hour period here.
We don't have a 24-hour period from sundown to midnight. We don't have it.
No, I'm saying for that midnight.
Yeah.
Was when the devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they would say shortly after that is when the people left to go into
To escape from Egypt.
Egypt.
Mhm.
So this was, midnight period, we're not going anywhere. I mean, if it was the same time frame, they would not have left. And yesterday was midnight, it would be tonight here. But they wouldn't.
Which would make it the 15th day. Right.
That's the part.
Right.
They did not depart on the 14th day.
But they killed the Passover on the 14th day.
Right, but the day, but based on this Bible, if we go by when the Passover, on the beginning of the 14th day.
Which would be 7:30, 8 o'clock.
If we have that midnight period,
Mhm.
that's when we should be ready to leave Egypt.
Okay,
And that could happen. Because we're still on 14th day.
right.
That's on 16th day.
Gotcha, I'm with you. Now I'm tracking with you.
So
Now I'm tracking.
if you do it going down at the sign of the evening,
Mhm.
so now when we encounter going into midnight tonight, then we're ready to start.
But at the going down of the sun, that would put us, at sundown, that would put us in our home again. At the going down of the sun, that would make it the 15th day. We know, but we are clear that they killed the Passover on the 14th day. Okay, so today, is today the 14th day or the 15th day? So let's take the Passover at the beginning of the 14th day versus the end of the 14th, because I'm always going to go back to that. I'm going to go back to, is it being taken on the 14th day? Now, I get it. Evening, I get that. I clearly understand, or should I say, I think I understand the 5 to 4 hour time frame difference according to these 5 scriptures that I read. But for me, I got to go a little bit deeper because, again, Exodus 12 said kill the Passover at evening, which would make it the 15th day, versus even, according to the theory, which would make it right as it's going into the 15th day.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's on the 14th at evening.
Mm-hmm.
Evening is the beginning of the 15th, which technically is what the world would call the 13th day.
Yeah.
So they think it, going into the 14th, which is the beginning of the 14th.
But that's not what we're saying. We're saying because and I'm not saying you, but what this understanding or this theory is, they killed it right at the tail end of the 14th day and left Egypt on the 15th day because they killed it 5 hours before it started the 15th day, right? That's what we can read according to this understanding. I'm just going inside the realm with this understanding. Now, how does that relate to us today? We're in the 14th day right now. We all agree on that, right? We took the Passover when the day began at evening, right? I'm not going to go evening. I'm not going to do all that. So, taking the Passover when the day started versus 4 or 5 hours before the day ends and goes into the 15th day, that is the point of contention. And we're trying to figure out, is it wrong to take it in when the day begins, or is it wrong to take it, well, not even wrong, is it wrong to take it on the 14th day when the day starts, is what we're asking. That's essentially what the question is, right? We've been dancing this whole time to figure out, is it wrong to take it on the 14th day when it starts? Which we're taking on the 14th day.
What time did Jesus?
At even? No?
Not done it.
Now we're trying to Reeby Jackson out of this one. We ain't gonna Reeby Jackson and put some special circumstances, because I've heard people say, well, see, the thief on the cross, you can get into heaven because the thief on the, no, that was a special circumstance. And I'm not even, like, Christ said, let's do the Passover at evening, right? So that means during that whole 24-hour period, like right now, he would be on the cross and they'd be about to take him down right now, right? So back to the thesis. Is it wrong to take the Passover when the day starts? No, I'm sorry. Is it wrong to take the Passover on the 14th day, which it is not, I think we can all agree that it's not wrong to take the Passover on the 14th day. Do we agree or we disagree on that? Now, the point of contention is, should we take it 4 hours before it turns into the 15th? And I can't say that because I took the Passover on the 14th day, I'm going to go to the lake of fire or I'm violating God's law. I can't say that. I personally can't say that. Now, people might want to say, well, here's the difference between evening and evening. And for me, now I got to get into this whole evening versus evening. And for me, I'm going to do a full spacewalk on it. So, again, I can't say that I'm going to the lake of fire because I took the Passover on the 14th day when it started. Can't say that. That's what I cannot definitively say. Can you guys tell me that I am going to the lake of fire because I took the Passover on the 14th day when the day starts?
No, I said that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So again, like I told your mom, I'm gonna talk to a couple of my elders. I'm gonna do a full spacewalk myself on the difference between evening and even. But just killing the Passover at evening in Exodus 12 and then killing it at even, it's kind of like, for me, and I'm gonna be real, it's kind of like the difference between Holy Convocation and Solemn Assembly. You know, like there's this contention about Solemn Assembly on the 8th day and versus Holy Feasting. Well, we can't feast because it says Solemn Assembly, when in Deuteronomy 16, it actually says the seventh day of unleavened bread, the seventh day of unleavened bread is a solemn assembly. To me, that's what I'm viewing this whole thing.
I don't think I can
Mhm. Mhm. You just said to you it's not the difference between evening and even, but it is, right? No, I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. But again, this is the first time I'm hearing this, and I got to do a full spacewalk on it to kind of, have a clear understanding in my mind. Because again, I'm going to say this again, and I know you prefaced by saying it. We took the Passover on the 14th day.
I think that the ordinance was given a particular way. There was thousands of years doing that ordinance. My opinion is that the board couldn't die according to that ordinance and do what he desired, which was not take the Passover weekend and decided at the same time. So he took it earlier in the day, right? But it beginning, and then he died according to the ordinance.
But the law of the scriptures can't be broken, though, right? So he's supposed to do the Passover when he's supposed to do the Passover, right? Because the reality is he died on the Passover, right? They came and got him. They didn't come and get him at 12 midnight going into the 15th day. They got him at 12 midnight going into the like 12 midnight from the 13th to the 14th day. When he was killed on the cross. Okay. But
he took it, he desired, and he said, I desire to take the Passover.
Well, hold up though. Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, I get that, but.
So that's why I would never tell anybody if they were wrong.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Well, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. He told his disciples to make ready and sacrifice the Passover and sat at the Passover to eat it, correct? So, just so I'm clear, all right, well, here's what I'll do. We'll close out, get out of here before we don't have a spot no more. Hold up. Einstein, what you had, man? I remember you raised your hand. Agreed.
ask the right person. Does the day start when it gets dark, or does the day start when the sun is going down, so it's dark?
When it's dark. That's how Nehemiah and them kept the Sabbath.
And I know next time, this was not a judgment on somebody did it.
Nah.
And
I don't take it like that.
it was around, the Bible talks about, when it talks about evening, it talks about the beginning of the day, and when you spoke of eve, it talks about the end of the day.
Mhm.
So that's what the distinction comes in, based on the book.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm gonna go into it and do a full spacewalk and, see if I can come up with, because right now I'm just going 2 or 3 hours and 4 hours. I want to come with a definitive, okay, this is the hours from even to evening, if there is such a thing. That's what I need to do for myself to be able to reconcile. All right? So good stuff. Appreciate that. Let's close this out, man. Hopefully we can come back next week and not get kicked out the staying too long, right? Go ahead, my brother.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth
thy will be done on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
No, we good. No screaming, we good. So wait a minute. Difference, is the issue we're talking about now sacrifice? The sacrifice, the instructions to sacrifice that.
What they say.